Hello, ladies and gents, and other fairy tale things. Welcome to the StarCraft Thunderdome. You're watching the Russian Cyber Games, the 2021 edition, the third one we've had, and hopefully not the last one, but that is up to you. I'm Ziggy, I'm here with Curiosity, and we're just about to kick off our group stage broadcast, our official coverage of the tournament. We have 2 days of top-notch StarCraft action coming your way. The absolute best the non-Korean scene has on offer, the cream of the foreign crop, as it were. And we're incredibly chuffed to see that you've chosen to spend the weekend with us enjoying what is arguably the best video game ever to be made by man or otherwise. So without further ado, Alex, long time no talk. It's been a while, mate. You all right?
Yeah, I haven't been around much since RCG 2020, and I did sub in to cast a couple BSL matches, but I'm back. We're going to be here all weekend casting RCG, and you guys are going to have to settle in, get your popcorn out, sit down and relax, because this is going to be a long cast.
Yeah, we do have 10 best of threes coming up today and likewise tomorrow. And just as Zero told us, we're kicking things off with a TVT. So I'm definitely hyped. This is literally the best matchup in all of RTS. So TVT, king of all matchups. Hopefully you share the sentiment.
As far as mirrors go, I think TVT is the best one. And we're going to start off with TerrOr against UltrA. This is a very high-level TVT match to start off. And following that, we'll have g0rynich against BoA, another very good match.
Yep, and we'll be wrapping things up with Group B, Dawid, Babo, Shiki, and Kacper. And then Group C and Group D tomorrow. Very interesting because every single group seems to have a very clear favorite. Like you look at Group A, then obviously you've got TerrOr, the reigning BSL champion. And Group B, you've got Dawid. I think he's the reigning RCG champion, if memory serves correctly. Then you've got Group C, you've got Bonith. You know, he needs no introduction. And Group D, maybe the exception to the rule, where you've got people like Dandy Koget, perhaps equally skilled or with equal chances of advancing out in first place, but definitely an interesting lineup of players all around in this tournament. All right, we've just been informed that the first map of this TVT is going to be Fighting Spirit. Here we have an overview of the maps that we have in this tournament. I don't think anyone can complain about the maps that are being used here. Fighting Spirit, Circuit Breakers, Neo Sylphid, probably the arguably the best map to come out of the Afrika era. Then, you know, as a Terran player, not a big fan of Eclipse or Bluestorm, and then Matchpoint and Tau Cross as well. Really looking forward to seeing those two maps. Hopefully, you know, the players do pick them. But yeah, we'll be kicking things off with Fighting Spirit here.
Yeah, nice balance of maps. Some older maps, some new maps, and here we have UltrA. UltrA, how did he make it in? Oh, he made it in via the BSL seeds from the last BSL. Eon Zerg and True Touch are not participating in this tournament. So UltrA, being the highest remaining player, along with Dandy, qualified to the tournament.
Yeah, the qualifying process was quite complex. It's really difficult to keep track of who made it in via which tournament. We do have the RCG 2020 champion seeded. We then had people from BSL 11, BSL 12, and then we also had a host of various qualifiers for various regions.
Yeah, TerrOr also made it in via BSL. He did win the last tournament, so for the first time in a very long time, it seems like someone other than Bonith can actually win a tournament. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, Bonith did also lose in the finals of last RCG, but definitely worth noting that...
Semi-finals.
Oh, sorry, semi-finals. Yeah, I guess. You know, it's good to see that Bonith's streak has been broken. As much as, you know, I'm a friend of his and we're the same team if we play in Nation Wars, he's already won like 4 BSLs in a row. And at a certain point, it gets a bit ridiculous, right? It's like Flash winning 3 or 4 ASLs in a row. At some point, it gets, you know, a little bit tedious to see the same person win over and over again. But this is also going to serve as like additional motivation for Bonith. I feel that he really wants to come into this tournament and show his best to, again, you know, reign supreme over the rest of the scene. All right, I think we've been informed that the match is ready by the puppet master, Zero. He's also here with us, pulling the strings behind the scenes. So without further ado, let's jump into our first map of the 2021 Russian Cyber Games in TerrOr versus UltrA on Fighting Spirit.
Right, starting off, we have in the top left corner the blue Terran TerrOr.
And his opponent in the bottom right as the red Terran, he is UltrA.
This is going to be a good match. These guys play a lot, usually in South American tournaments, but we have seen them also in high-level matches in random tournaments throughout Gs, BSL. And UltrA, while he's not a superior player to TerrOr in any sense, his best matchup is TBT.
Yeah, it's just as you said, two representatives of the South American scene, TerrOr hailing from Peru and UltrA representing Chile. I'm really looking forward to this match. We do have the diagonal spawns in TBT. This is probably going to be a longer one.
Yeah, although TerrOr does like to mix in very aggressive strategies in TBT. You often see him go for 6-fact timings off 2 base. And here we have gas first from UltrA.
Oh wow, that is unorthodox here from our Chilean player, going for that gas first. Meanwhile, TerrOr starting with the standard barracks. We'll see if he follows that up with a gas, and I think he does indeed. Really curious to see what kind of a build UltrA actually follows this up with. Is this going to be a proxy factory, like 2-fact play, or maybe he's looking to go for double starport? But I don't think you rush a refinery this quickly if you're looking to do that.
Yeah, he's gonna have 100 gas before TerrOr. Okay, TerrOr's mine now, so basically he's about 80 gas ahead. But as you can see, the barracks isn't gonna be done, so he can't make the factory right away. So this is just to get something out faster. It's either that second factory, and there's an SCV scout heading out. Normal timing here. Well, actually slightly late, but it makes sense because he invested in the earlier refinery, and TerrOr's factory, normal timing.
Yep. So TerrOr is cutting SCV or pulling SCVs out of the gas geyser, which is he's only pulled one out. This is a little bit unorthodox, but gives him a few more options, or leaves a few more options on the board for our blue player. We'll see what he chooses to follow that up with.
UltrA has 3 on gas, of course, because he invested in that fast gas, and you can see he's backing up a very large amount of gas here.
Yeah, so this is most likely going to be the 2 starport play, I think, because his SCV got scouted by TerrOr, and like putting a proxy factory there wouldn't really make too much sense, and I don't really see what he wants to do with all that gas other than a 2 starport play.
He's making a lot of Marines here. He really shouldn't reveal his Marine count to TerrOr. He's rallying 3-4 Marines, and look at his gas count. It's already at 400.
Yeah, but like making 4 Marines like on diagonal spawns doesn't really make too much sense because you can't really use them offensively. I mean, maybe he's actually anticipating something to come out from TerrOr with like 2-3 vultures. And that's why he went for 4 Marines, because as we can see, he rushed a machine shop on his factory, so he wouldn't have his own vultures to actually defend. Went for a really quick bunker there.
Yeah, and on the flip side, we haven't mentioned TerrOr's build at all, but TerrOr is going for 2-fact, and UltrA with that bunker on the low ground there. This is kind of to disguise what he's doing in case another scout tries to get in. But I mean, UltrA and TerrOr both going for 1 base plays, and I think UltrA's is going to be slightly better. He has the potential to transition out of this better than TerrOr with the starport. And you can see with the bunker already down, there's not much. Oh, can the SCV? Oh, just barely out of range from spotting if there was a command center there on the low ground.
But he did see, like, the SCV took so much damage, and he knew that it wasn't like a CC first or a barracks expand, right? So he might think, because that SCV went down really quickly, which means the bunker had more than 2 Marines. And if there was no like CC first or barracks expand, then he should probably anticipate that there's something cheesy coming out of Ultra. Meanwhile, we do have an attack from Terra. The Vulture's trying to slip past. They're going to run into the tank, so going to get picked off without too much hassle there. Manages to plant one mine and another one maybe in the natural, not quite. Well, really nicely handled there by Ultra.
Yeah, and now Ultra can easily expand. He's not all in by any means, despite going for one base playing Terror. Getting his command center down, he saw there was nothing other than 2 tanks and a bunch of Marines. He still doesn't know that it's Wraith, but most likely that's the follow-up to this. So is he going to make Goliaths? Looks like no Goliaths yet, and... Okay, 1 Goliath there, finally. The problem is Ultra will have Cloak. Now 1 Cloak Wraith is not really going to do much, but once that starts going up to 3, 4, then he has to worry about getting detection out.
Yeah, and when he starts investing in detection, he's actually going to have to cut corners in other areas of his build, which means the 3 tanks that Ultra now has moving across the map are going to be so incredibly difficult to hold off against. Because, I mean, Terra only has, what, 1 tank and a couple of mines planted on his side of the map.
The mines will be huge. The problem is, this is going to come down to execution. Ultra has to sacrifice these Marines. He has to be careful. Oh. Okay, looks like enough DPS there to clear the mines. He's leading with 1 Marines, but his tanks in the back are getting split off. He has to be careful here. Okay, looks like he manages to hold off now 3 tanks against 2 tank and a Goliath. The Wraith providing support, but again, the Wraith doesn't really do much. Wraith is only forcing Terror to make Goliaths instead of Vultures, so it's actually helped because there's not a ton of mines here. SCV pull from Terror, this is huge. This is critical because SCVs are very good against tanks. They influence a lot in the fights. Looks like the 2 Wraiths are actually managing to pick off 1 tank, no repair from Terror, and Ultra with Siege. Now this is going to put a lot of pressure on Terror. I doubt Terror has Siege quite yet.
Now it is worth noting how Ultra is controlling his units. When he was running away from the SCVs, he went down the path that he had already cleared from the mines, so he wouldn't run into any trouble there. We do have a SCV pull from Terror. The tank's coming in closer, clearing out 1 tank of his opponent, another one falling as well, but the Wraiths are becoming a problem. There's 3 of them, and there are hardly any Goliaths left for Terror.
Yeah, unfortunately for Terror, the Wraith number has increased. This is 3. 3 is way worse than 1 because you can't just repair whatever the Wraith is attacking. And he's going to have to make Goliaths, which is going to hurt him because now there's going to be a tank follow-up from Ultra. And look at Ultra, how he's attacking across the map. You can see in the mini-map, the tank's going through the path he already went. It's not risking going through the middle in case there are mines there. And this is all falling apart very quickly for Ultra.
For Terror.
For Terror.
Yep. Well, another problem is that he doesn't have any detection for the moment. So he did manage to clear out 2 Wraiths, but again, you know, we have another siege up from Ultra on the low ground. We have that 1 Wraith given sufficient vision to keep applying pressure. But the natural predator of the tank comes out once again. The SCV's getting pulled. But there just aren't any units left for Terra. He's taken so much damage already. He's down to 15 SCVs against the 28 of his opponent. Ultra has finished his command center in the natural, so it's not like it's an all-in or anything. This is looking worse and worse for Terra. We even have a 3rd command center halfway done for Ultra.
Yeah, Ultra's just way ahead here. There's no way to come back. Even in this matchup where you can hang around for a very long time, find economic situations where you're hanging in there, but this is just too much of a deficit. Terra just barely holding on by a thread, probably thinking about what went wrong, and here we go. 2 Wraiths alive, 2 tanks, not sieging the command center, but he's running out of options here. And again, Ultra's economy is booming. He didn't cut SCVs for his build at all. So there are the 2 Wraiths. Even if he loses these Wraiths and the attack is thwarted, Ultra's going to have that 3rd command center up pretty soon.
Even if Terror were to secure his natural and his 3rd, it would be really difficult to actually move out onto the map as Ultra has secured this 1 bridge. It's looking worse and worse for Terror. I think he's just, as you said, trying to figure out what went wrong there. I think he got a little bit too greedy with his build because he was playing blind, tried to run his opening vultures past the bunker. They got caught, and he didn't really have anything to fall back on. We have a GG coming out from Terra, and that means Ultra is going to go up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, very quick game. I expected aggression out of TerrOr for sure. He does like to do that in TVT, but it wasn't even a hard counter. It was just decision making, lack of scouting really hurt TerrOr. And then the fact that he committed to his build without having any information, he sacrificed those 3 vultures. The key there is the mines. If he had placed mines around the map, it's very hard for Ultra to move out. But once Ultra saw all those vultures die, the fact that they had mines, he felt very confident pushing out.
Yep, a little greedy there with the opening, but that's not the end. This is not the BSL. We actually have best of 3s in the opening games, so there's still a chance that TerrOr wins this series. We're just about to find out, I think, what map he's chosen for this second bout of the match. Okay, it'll be Neo Sylphid there, chosen by TerrOr. So again, one of the most standard maps we've had in the past, I don't know, 5-6 years, probably the best map to come out of the Afrika TV era.
Unrelated, but how would you compare this map to a map like Polypoid?
Really a tough question. Like, you don't have any. First of all, we don't have any high grounds in the middle of the map, which is probably going to favor a more aggressive style in TVT, because those defensive positions are slightly more difficult to take and actually secure. It is a little bit smaller, and it often forces your hand, because obviously it's a 3-player map, so it has an uneven number of bases, unlike Polypoid, where you can basically cut the map in half much more easily than on a map like like Neo Sylphid or Tower Cross, where you have again an uneven number of maps. So maybe this is why TerrOr has chosen this particular battleground. As you said, he is quite aggressive in TVT. Hopefully that pays off in this game. But we've just been told that we're ready. So without further ado, let's jump into game number 2 of the opening series of RCG 2021.
And here we have Ultra in the 12 o'clock spawn as the red Terran.
And his opponent currently trailing 0-1 as the blue Terran in the 4 to 5-ish o'clock. He is TerrOr.
Now, because this map, like you said, doesn't have ramps, what I've seen TerrOr do a lot, and also Dandy, is they go for one base play where they open vultures with marine pressure and they follow up with 2-fact Goliaths. And the fact that there's no ramp on this map makes that a very difficult strategy to defend as a Terran that goes 1 base factory, because you don't have a high ground. But because TerrOr is down 1-0, I don't think he would risk that, and I'm pretty sure he's just going to play standard and hopefully execute a better strategy than last game, and I'm pretty sure he's confident he can outplay Ultra in a longer game.
Yeah, probably. I'm really hoping we get those longer TVTs, because again, it is my favorite matchup, and I do enjoy both watching and playing it. We have both players going for a Gas follow-up on 12, so very standard in TVT. We'll see what kind of a follow-up they choose to go for. Is this going to be a regular expansion, or maybe a 1-1-1, maybe a 2-fact? Who knows?
The only difference here is Ultra Scout is a lot faster. Well, not a lot faster, but significantly faster than you would normally do in a TVT. It's not gonna, he's gonna get the first scout. You could see scouting the middle as well. You just don't want to die to some kind of BBS. And Ultra playing very, very safe, very standard.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the positioning on that factory, because it's very close to the edge of the base, and it's really easy to siege this part. Oh, sorry, that's a supply depot. Never mind. Yeah, okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
You have 1 marine from both players. TerrOr instantly floating. Sees that Ultra's playing standard. He didn't see the gas count, and look, Ultra took 2 off, and now he's putting 2 back on. So Ultra's the one who's going to be aggressive this time. And TerrOr has no SCVs on gas. He's really maximizing those minerals. Just going to get that expansion up as quickly as possible.
Oh yeah, he didn't even leave a single one on gas there. Meanwhile, as you said, Ultra probably looking to go for that 1-1-1, or maybe a 2-fact. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, he's going for a proxy.
Cheeky. This is clever, and this is something that really works a lot of the time because, okay, he gets a scout too. So he's going to be very, very confident now because this proxy factory, while it might, he canceled the add-on. Was this a mistake? No, he's making a vulture. This proxy factory is going to mean the rally tanks are going to arrive much, much faster. And looks like TerrOr making a vulture. So both players making vultures, and you kind of have to do this. You have to make this vulture right away because you risk. Oh, what happened here? Oh, okay. So technical issues. Technical issues here.
Yeah, StarCraft crashed. We have to reload the game.
All right. So what do you think about this group? Who would you say out of these 4 players are going to advance?
And as I said, I think there were like 3 clear favorites in every single group here. We had TerrOr in Group A, DeWalt Group B, Bonnet Group C. Will be of contention in Group D, maybe between Danny and Koget. But with UltrA now being up 1-0 and having this seemingly, a build order win in game number 2, he might be also advancing in first place. But I would have said TerrOr and g0rynich before this group started. Now I'm thinking, maybe UltrA and TerrOr.
Okay, I'm gonna go and say it's gonna be TerrOr and BoA, but I would not be surprised to see g0rynich advance. g0rynich has very strong ZVT as well, and with 2 Terrans in the group, I think he has a good shot.
Yeah. I also look at the map pool, and I don't think it's the best one for Protoss. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I think we're just about ready to jump back into game number 2 of TerrOr vs UltrA. So, let's go.
Okay, here we are. Back again. Proxy factory from UltrA, and this is going to be a very difficult hold for TerrOr, but not impossible. He just has no sense that this is coming until now. Now he sees the floating barracks. He sees the 3 Marines and vulture heading out. He's going to need a bunker ASAP.
Got more technical issues, unfortunately. StarCraft doesn't.
Maybe the replay is bugged. Or corrupt. I don't know. Corrupted cup, corrupted replay.
Well, that was 2 years ago. We're going with a different theme this year. But yeah, this build, if you want to counter it, you really need to get a good read on your opponent. And I think, first of all, if you had the barracks back home, it could definitely help spotting the tanks, right, when you were defending. Because this way, you kind of have to go for a starport, I think, as TerrOr.
TerrOr needs a bunker ASAP. The problem is he floated that off really quickly. He only made 1 Marine. So even with a bunker, it really doesn't do damage. It just buys time so UltrA can advance. And what I'm wondering is, what's UltrA doing with that proxy factory? Is he going to make an add-on? Or is he just going to rally vultures? Because it's possible with just vulture rally, TerrOr will die here. Well, TerrOr can't invest in an add-on. He won't have the time.
If we're assuming that he's going for tanks, then, TerrOr needs vision to deal with them. He's not going to outproduce UltrA's tanks. So the only logical, I think, follow-up here for TerrOr would be to go for a starport and try and hold off with wraiths. But, it all depends on whether he gets a good read on his opponent or not.
No. And if it's vultures, going for wraiths means without a bunker, you get overrun right away. Here we go. Look, it's okay. So it's just vultures from UltrA. It's being patient. TerrOr, he hasn't made that add-on. Okay, so he's playing it right. He's got the correct read here. He just can't. Oh, is he moving out? What is he doing? He's gotta be careful here.
But this can pay off. He's got 3 vultures against 1 + 4 Marines. He can out-micro this. Now remember, they're both South American players, so there's no lag issues or anything. But slight miss-micro there from TerrOr.
Yeah, good patrol here, and he's gonna clean up the Marines pretty easy. Now it's 2 vultures. He can't get the high ground here. UltrA wisely not engaging. But the problem is it's 2 factory against 1, but soon TerrOr will have that second factory. and he does have the faster reinforcements. And I think, okay, Vulture picked off there, but it's 3 against 2. It's going to be 3 against 3. One of Vultures is damaged. But with the reinforcement factories right next to where his army is, this is going to be a hold for Terra. Now he's following this up with an armory, and Ultra is switching into tanks, at least from one factory.
Yeah, the main one. But as you said, he got a very good read on his opponent, and now I don't think he's going to struggle to hold here. Now the question is, how is he going to handle those attacks? Oh, we actually have Goliaths coming in for Ultra as well, and suddenly things are starting to look a little bit shabby here for Terra.
Okay, I'm really questioning if this was a follow from Ultra, why did he make an add-on? The add-on cuts into production time. The tank is slow to reinforce. He could have had 2 Goliaths instead of this 1 tank. And here we go. This is looking dicey for Terra though, because it's 2 factories. The proxy is really helping Ultra reinforce this. Pulling SCVs again, and looks like Terra not targeting the Vultures with his own Vultures. And he's losing this. He still have 2 Goliaths, but it's 2 tanks. Tanks outrage the Goliaths. SCV's being pulled again, but good micro here from Ultra. And now siege mode is done. And there's the starport, but with Goliath and tank here at the net, this is looking impossible for Terra to hold.
Yeah, this is a good night, Sweet Prince. He's pulling more SCVs from the main. They're all getting picked off by the tanks and Goliaths of his opponent. He's down to 15, 14, 13 SCVs. Meanwhile, Ultra sitting on 24 workers back at home. This is unrecoverable for Terra here. I think we've got our very first upset of the tournament in our first series. Ultra taking the 2-0 over the reigning BSL champion.
Yeah, that was a very quick 2-0 too. And I'm not really sure what he could have done better after holding off the initial push. I mean, the proxy factory really helped there, but I'm not sure. Was he too greedy? Did maybe the starport wasn't the correct call? What do you think?
I wish I had an answer, but alas, I do not. You know, these guys, they're better than me, because obviously they're in this tournament. I'm not. I'm here talking about them. But clearly, Ultra really knows his stuff in TVT. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Definitely not expecting it 2-0.
Yeah, I was questioning the decision there when you're going for timing to make that add-on, but it looked like they worked out. The tanks, even though, I mean, they have larger range, they're very good against Goliaths. And I mean, it was just nicely executed by Ultra. And with that, he wins 2-0 against Terra. He's going to the winners match, and we have Terra, I mean, former finalist in this very tournament, the recent BSL champion, going down into the losers bracket.
Yeah, well, you know, he's not down and out. This is a double elimination group, so we will have 2 people advancing out of it, and there's still a chance for Terra to, you know, pick up a few games, pick up a few wins, and maybe advance in second place.
But, definitely still possible, but he will have his work cut out for him. g0rynich and BoA are both very strong players.
Yeah, but as Terra, I think you want to go up against g0rynich and then like maybe just go mech, because from what I've heard, g0rynich actually struggles against mech in particular. He's really good against bio, but if you're playing mech, then you know you definitely have a much higher chance of taking them down. Now TVP, you never want to play TVP. Let's be honest. If you're Terran, you just want to avoid this matchup. So yeah, we'll see who manages to win this next game. g0rynich BoA. Okay, we've just been informed that the first map is going to be Circuit Breakers. So another classic of StarCraft. Another full-player map to kick things off. So who's your favorite here? Do you think g0rynich wins this or BoA? Because you said the BoA makes it out of this group, right?
Yeah, I think BoA does make it out. But now with Terra in the losers, that would mean BoA would have to likely win this and then win against Ultra, because it's going to be very hard for BoA to get out having to eliminate Terra. So I think I'm going to say BoA is going to win, but this is a very tough first map. And Again, g0rynich. I mean, g0rynich, I don't think people realize how strong g0rynich is. g0rynich made it to the finals in BSL, lost against Bonif, of course. He then followed that up with the semifinals where he beat TerrOr 3-1. So g0rynich has shown a very high level, like maybe not as strong as Eon Zerg and True Touch, but definitely has some results.
Yeah, he did have that miracle run in BSL where he made it really quite far, was he? Actually had 2 seasons back-to-back with top 3 finishes. So I'll be keen to see if he manages to pull something similar off here as well. And I think we're just about ready to jump here, or to jump into game number 1 here on Circuit Breakers. So let's go.
All right, in the top left position, we have g0rynich as the white Zerg.
And his opponent, hailing from America, as the orange Protoss. In the top right, he is BoA.
All right, BoA, the lone North American representative in this tournament.
Yeah, let's see how far he manages to go in the bracket.
I think he could potentially make it into the last 4, but he could also just not even make it out of this group. This is a very tough group. All right, Pylon, and immediately scouting from BoA. He's going to go for that Forge play. And g0rynich, is he going to go overpool or is he going to go 11 hatch? Okay, look, this is a very clever scout. You're on this map, Zerg always scouts vertically with their Overlord. So BoA going to check the 9 o'clock. If he sees the Overlord, then he knows where g0rynich is at. And if he doesn't see it, he also knows where g0rynich is at. So this is a perfect scout. Does he leave too early? No, looks like he did see that.
All right. So do you think, like, if you... Does scouting your opponent's Overlord or not change your game plan here if you're going for that really quick scout, or do you always go for a Forge? Because, I mean, I wish I could contribute a little bit more, but, you know, PvZ meta is... It's a mystery to me.
The reason you scout with just, I mean, you scout there so you can get away with 1 probe scout with Forge. It's not really going to affect anything. It does affect the fact that you can respond much faster. For example, if you see a hatch, you can go right away for a cannon rush or go right away for a Nexus. And here we go. We see him being annoying. 205 is roughly the time you get that hatchery down. So BoA's going to try to delay that as long as possible. Of course, you don't want to lose that probe. And BoA knows this is overpool. So let's see how he follows this up. Looks like Nexus and then cannon right away on 13, cutting probes. So you get the cannon timing down, and you're pretty safe as Protoss doing this.
It's interesting to see because from what I remember, like, gateway openings are king in PvZ, at least in like the Korean meta. Or I might be misremembering things, but you know, the Forge fast expand, a little bit more of a classic approach to PvZ.
This isn't a great map for it because the gap you're left off with has 3. The wall has 3 gaps in it. I mean, so it's not ideal to go gate on this map. You can go Forge and you're fine. We do see g0rynich taking not a great third for this map because it's closer to the Protoss, which is something you want to do, and it doesn't have a third gas. So maybe this is 3 hatch Hydra, or maybe it's just going to play standard. Normally, as Zerg, you would take either bottom left natural or 9 o'clock as your third, but g0rynich going for that mineral only makes me think it's going to be something more aggressive. And the fact that he made 6 slings, which are going to help a ton get rid of this this scouting probe.
Yeah, probably the natural layout is a good argument here. I forgot that if you want to play Protoss, you also need a degree in urban planning to get those walls.
Luckily, modern maps have made it pretty easy to wall, but if you look at any maps from before 2008, you just really have to improvise. I mean, even in Blue Storm, it's a pretty difficult map to do a wall on. And here we go, just going lair, and this is key. g0rynich goes lair, but the probe is still alive, and this was 6 slings, very heavy investment. To not kill this probe before your lair starts is a pretty big deal. Right, assimilator right after or right before the core is done. This is slightly faster than normal. Normally you go Stargate then second assimilator. Not a big deal, but he is gonna prioritize getting that gas. And g0rynich surprisingly playing standard. This does, I mean, the mineral only third might come into play. The fact that he's not gonna have a ton of gas in the mid game.
I don't think you actually need that third gas that quickly, right? In PvZ.
Not at all,
ZVP.
but it does limit your options. For example, if you're gonna go Hydra, Muta, you're gonna be pretty low on gas.
Well, yeah,
to
but
then go lurkers.
At the point you're actually forced to make that decision, you probably will have expanded to a fourth anyway. That's what I'm like. The fact that you don't have a third gas doesn't come into play up until the point where you actually get your fourth in ZVP. But anyway, we do have a Spire coming up for g0rynich. And BoA going for a very standard Stargate follow-up.
Yeah, Citadel right away. No +1 air. No +1 ground either. And we do have a lot of gas for BoA, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be right away into archives. Maybe get some DTs out. And g0rynich, still no fourth hatch. Okay, there it is. Fourth and fifth hatch should be going down now. He's getting that second gas pretty fast.
So do you think this is Mutas, or is just going to get a couple of Scourge?
No, I think this is... This could either be 5 Muta or with a follow-up into more economy and then Hydras, or it could just be standard. But with no Den yet, this is looking more likely like it's going to be a Muta opening. Yeah,
he would have probably put down a Hydra Den if you were only going for a couple of Scourge.
And like I said, there's that. Oh, this is... I'm already concerned. This is going to be Muta probably, and we have no +1. And look at the cannon positioning. It doesn't cover the Stargate, so Scourge can camp out there. And BoA not scouting. Okay, there it is. Scouting, but he's not really scouting. He's not really scouting. Okay.
Yeah, but he's in for a rude awakening as those Mutas pop out.
Okay, so this is going to be Hydras, but this is very late. Oh, can't lose those Corsairs. This is very late for the Hydra Den, and I'm remembering now he did make 6-lings right off the bat instead of just the normal 2. Okay, so he's got to run away. Again, the Stargate position isn't great, but Corsairs have range, Scourge don't. If there's a Scourge camping, you can just range it from around where your Nexus is. And there's a DT moving out like I predicted, and it's going to go right for that mineral only. g0rynich sees it right away, so good reaction from there and good awareness. It's 2 DTs. 2 DTs will just ignore a low number of Hydras and target those drones. But, okay, it's important to have those lings here. Is he going to go 1 in the main, 1 in the nat? Looks like kills that creep, which is actually a pretty big deal. That's a drone loss plus the minerals. And he's just going to run away now. g0rynich has a very healthy economy here with 35 drones. He is making a creep now. But additional gateways going down for BoA. I think this is a pretty even game, all things considering. The gateway explosion does go down after the archive, so we're seeing him going up to 6. Will he go 8?
Well, I mean, he cut his Corsair production. He's only got like 3, right? Or maybe 4. What's the number you need to one-shot Scourge?
It's 5 with +1, 6 without.
5. Okay, never mind then.
And looks like the Hydra pressure. g0rynich is not intending to do that. He's really focusing on his economy here.
Yeah, very atypical of g0rynich to play this defensive, I feel.
Okay, and he's gonna go 6 hatch at his third base, which is pretty normal. When you don't have that gas, you want the 6 hatch at your third gas instead of as a macro hatch. But okay, there it is. Good timing for it, around 8:30, 9 minutes. And he's going lurker before his additional hatcheries, which kind of hurts your economy a little bit, hurts your production, but he really wants to not die here. Sometimes when Protoss go for DT, they follow that up with a quick Zealot High Templar push. And here it is. Here we go. Before Goon range is done, he's moving out. That's +1 weapon, scanning armor. Is he gonna go straight through 12 o'clock? That can be a little bit risky because you have to push through this choke and you will be on the low ground. First lurker egg being morphed, so looks like he can block off that path and he will be fine against this push DT doing work here.
Yeah, this invisible man has already managed to pick off like 3 Hydras there.
Nice scouting here from g0rynich with the Scourge. Again, just 1, maybe 2 lurkers will be enough against this push. But you can see, oh, is it gonna get picked off? Oh, this is pretty bad. He's gonna have to have good Hydra spread here. Nice, okay. I was gonna say nice storm, but good micro from g0rynich to have his Hydra pre-spread. And here we have a couple lurkers moving in, and this will be enough to hold off this push. BoA really should retreat here. Shouldn't commit, shouldn't throw away these zealots. He's getting good engagements on the Hydras, but again, with the lurkers already here, there's not much he can do.
Yeah, really good read from g0rynich to actually go for those lurkers as if he were expecting his opponent to cause their production and go for that massive attack with the zealots and storm. And now he's got his 4th up. He's got like 7 hatcheries worth of production. Sorry, 6 hatcheries worth of production.
Yeah, normally you'd have 7 here, but he did go for that lurker, which is 200 minerals worth of investment. And again, you can expect g0rynich to drone up here for a little bit because he knows he just held off a push, and BoA really did cut corners. He didn't even get a robo started until after that push. Here we have lurkers moving forward. Now this is a little bit risky. This is the last thing you want to do. This is when you want to drone and start. You don't really want to put on pressure with lurkers. And because even though you're kind of containing Protoss, if they break out of this, Protoss is going to trade very efficiently. And then what do you have behind it?
Now, for a second there, I thought the replay might be broken because BoA was going up to like 1,500, 1,600 minerals, but so slipping a little bit on like macro-wise. But luckily, he's picked that back up. But yeah, he's a bit walled in at the moment by g0rynich. He's got those lurkers pushing.
Yeah, this is where I'm a little bit concerned for g0rynich because he's going to need gas to get Hydras and lurkers out. Lings won't have any upgrades, and they're not very effective till you have Hive. And you see his gas only going down now, and he's still, I mean, look at the positions he's going to have to defend. He's going to have to defend his high ground that leads to his mineral-only 3rd. He's going to have to defend outside his bridge to defend 9 o'clock unless he sunkens up with lurkers behind that. So it's not an easy defense when you expand like this. Compare this to if, say, g0rynich had 9 o'clock as his 3rd, and then bottom left as his 4th. Then you can kind of hold that one high ground, and then everything else defends your net and your 3rd. But he's going to go for the sunken lurker strategy, and it's really going to hurt his economy here, but he's banking on the fact that he has his 4th, whereas BoA is only taking his 3rd now. Just moving out. Can they snipe the High Templars? Looks like one storm goes off, but it's a bit of a whiff. Second storm a little bit better, and once oh, there's a vulnerability here across the bridge. It's only one sunken, one lurker. BoA somehow realizes this, and he's pushing across. He really has to control his dragoons here so they don't get bugged out. He might be walking into a flank though. How many storms does he have left? Looks like there's only one High Templar. Can he reinforce this?
He needs a storm on the right. There's a lot of Hydras coming down the ramp, sniping a lot of dragoons. But the bulk of the army still remains for BoA. Picks off the remaining lurkers of his opponent. Now moves up towards the 3rd. The mineral only there.
Yeah, and you see the +1 making those things useless.
I mean, you should be able to clear this out because it's only dragoons left. There's no zealots in town, there's no storm.
You can see the reinforcements coming in from BoA, and I mean, there's still 2 High Templars. The fact that they're not in Archon making me think they're going to have storm pretty soon. And if g0rynich can't defend this game's basically over, and looks like he's going to try to get a lurker behind the wall, but this is a lot of dragoons still left over. And BoA should reinforce this with pure zealots. Very fast to reinforce. And there they are, but his rally is not active. And this is a critical moment here, but looks like BoA is going to bust through here. Again, what are the upgrades? I think this is 1-1 Protoss. The 1 armor is really coming in big because you can see these units basically never died.
Yeah, it was +2 attack, +1 armor. As you say, you know, the natural has been broken. A lot of drones have already fallen as well. And g0rynich is going to tap out of game number 1 here on Circuit Breakers with BoA going up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, you could see that it was very hard for g0rynich to defend. He had to defend 9, the high ground, and the bridge, and maybe a small defense in case BoA goes through 12. But BoA found the opening, and once he got across that bridge, it's pretty hard for Zerg to unburrow everything and move towards and trade efficiently. So,
do you think he could have had a much better chance of actually defending if he had expanded towards the 12 o'clock as his fourth? Because even though, you know, there's a low ground there, I feel it's a lot closer to your third, and you only have to cover one angle, right? Because you're not opening a different one. You're just moving one of those paths forward.
It's tough to say, but you don't really want to expand towards Protoss. It makes the amount of time they need to get to your base a lot less. So all those sunkens that he made at 9 o'clock, he wouldn't have had the time to make them at 12. BoA would expand and then attack in that same direction. So you can't even counterattack because all the units are there. And chokes, they kind of work for lurkers and hydras if you get them spread out, but it also works for storm. I don't think 12 was the option. And again, his gas count was very low. His third gas was very late. I think he needed that right away. Basically, once the hatchery was about to complete, have that extractor done so you can mine gas, get extra lurkers. Because you saw all those links he mixed in, basically useless. 0-0 links, not really going to help much against 2-1 Protoss.
Yeah, I guess. So do you think he could have gone for that 9 o'clock as opposed to the mineral only that he went for first?
It would have been fine to go for mineral only first, but not if he follows up with a sunken lurker defense. And especially the fact that he moved all his lurkers and hydras forward once he held off the first push. He lost like 3-4 lurkers there. Not really what you want to do. You want to be defending if you're going to go for the unit comp he went for. And the way his base layout was, it doesn't lead to aggression.
All right, there you have it. We're jumping into game number 2, which is going to be... Pardon? I didn't get that. Tau Cross. All right, game number 2. BoA against g0rynich on a 3-player map. Let's go.
In the top right, we have g0rynich coming off that game 1 loss.
And at 5:30, as the Blue Protoss, the sole American representative in the RCG, he is BoA. Currently up 1-0 in the series.
I guess I didn't make the map prediction, but this does not surprise me at all. This is an excellent map for ZVP. It's very hard for Protoss to get a 4th gas. You're limited to your 3 because if you look at the spawns, what is BoA's 4th gas? It's going to be the natural to another main, or maybe the main to that main, and it's very, very far away. You're basically going to get 3 bases with gas and then 2 mineral onlys as Protoss on this map.
Well, yeah, but he needs to survive to the point where, you know, BoA is actually going to need that 4th gas, right? g0rynich is.
Right, of course. And wait, this wall. This is a bad pylon. I mean, is this going to be double 9 gate? Yeah, it looks like it is, because this pylon is... You can get a 1 gap wall on this map, so the fact that he made this pylon there really didn't make sense. But 9, very nice, but it's going to go up against 9 pool, and this is actually okay for BoA. 9 pool, it's going to be aggressive, but the fact that he's going to have double the production than you would expect. He can overwhelm the Zerg if Zerg doesn't micro the initial links well. The fact that his second hatchery is going to be so late means that g0rynich is going to have very low production. This comes down to micro because there's nothing else. I mean, the options g0rynich has from here are just make more links.
Yeah, we have to remember this is probably TR, what, 16?
Yeah.
So who do you think is favored in this situation?
Protoss.
Protoss or Zerg? Okay, TR16 Protoss, obviously.
If this were overpool, this would be slightly worse for g0rynich because depending on how many links he makes right off the bat. But here we go. Zealot retreating wide away because he sees it's 6 links. But when g0rynich gets here, he's going to see the double gate. He's going to be like, oh crap. What he's doing with his larva here is very important. But we see 6 links and drones. Second gas right away. So it's going to be speed follow-up. All right, got to be careful. One way, I mean, I would like to see BoA make a second pylon to power these gateways just in case. Okay, there it is. The thing is, if g0rynich counters here, BoA just moves out. He's going to have enough production to hold off 6 links with probes. So this is... Okay, there's 1 Zealot, and now it's 6 links. He's got to be careful not to lose his Zealot right away. It's like 1 Zealot has 1 kill. He's going to wait for that second Zealot, and then he can engage. Meanwhile, the 4 Zealots are heading across the map, and I think this is already over.
Like, how does he hold?
Yeah, this is
4
over.
Zealots?
It's over. It's over. Unfortunately for g0rynich, I mean, that is not the play. You kind of have to... It's just a tough situation for Zerg when you make 6 links and then drones with 9 pool against the double gateway. You really need to scout right away that it's double gateway. He does manage to kill off 1 Zealot here. Okay, I mean, if BoA throws away these Zealots, then all of a sudden there's a chance for g0rynich to get back in this game. I'm not really sure what he's focusing on here, but it's like most of the links go down. The Sunken does have a lot of beef. It's very... Oh, okay, this is going bad for BoA. Sunken goes down, but look at the probe count.
But I think he's got more Zealots reinforcing now. So, yeah, there's 2 more. I mean, just about to enter the main base of g0rynich.
Okay, so it's over nonetheless, but not very clean. g0rynich could have made another Sunken there, and he doesn't really need all this gas. He had 3 on gas for a very long time there. And while the Lings are alive, this is 5 Zealots. It's just too much. But you can see how hard this is for Zerg to hold. Even with BoA messing up. I mean, he cancels the lair just to get more minerals, but it's already over. 9 probes, more than enough to make non-stop Zealots up 2 gateways.
Alright, so it looks like we're just about to have another 2-0 here.
No GG from g0rynich.
g0rynich taps out there in game number 2, and we're going to have a TVP in the winners match between UltrA and BoA. So we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, g0rynich falls to the lower bracket where he's going to face off against TerrOr. Perhaps not what I was expecting. I was actually...
No, me neither.
I thought they would face off, but in the winners match, both TerrOr and g0rynich.
Yeah, that was... It's not a build order counter, but the scouting really comes into play there because as g0rynich, you only want to make links from that position. Every drone he made just really cemented the loss. Every additional drone made it harder for him to hold. And you might think countering is the play there, but Protoss just heads on forward, and there's no way to hold off the natural. So I think making the Sunken in the main was the right play, but you just have no way to come back economically. And while he did kill 5, maybe 6 probes with those 4 or 5 lings, it's just not enough.
Yeah, you know, these build order wins sometimes happen in StarCraft. Hopefully not too often, you know, for the remainder of the tournament. Because I was really looking forward to some longer games, even though we do have 10 best of 3s to get through today, and likewise tomorrow. But, you know, 2 down, 8 to go. And we are going to have that TVP in the winners match, I think, coming up. Or are we going for the losers match first? Okay, we're going with the winners match first between UltrA and BoA. And the first map is again going to be Taucross. Definitely a surprising choice here.
I mean, I think this map is okay for PvT. Definitely more than okay. The fact that your third is wide open kind of makes it hard for both sides. Vulture, harass, and then bust become more effective. But again, the gas as a limiting factor doesn't really come into play in this matchup as much. Terran on 3 gas is more than fine. The wide open mains make it very good for Vulture and Reaver harassment. I mean, it's pretty interesting TVP map. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of angles you have to cover in your main base against, like, as you said, drops, especially as Terran. If you're going up against Reaver drops, you do have to invest in a lot of turrets to keep yourself safe, unless you go for a Wraith, maybe. And then, the open nature of the third is going to be a little bit problematic for Ultra, because, it makes those Protoss stacks ever so powerful. But again, swings and roundabouts, you can get those vultures in much more easily than you would on a different map. So I think we'll see. I think BoA is a little bit favored on this map as a Protoss, but again, I haven't played it since, I don't know, it wasn't a map for like 3 years ago or so. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. At this point, my predictions go out the window. I think I'm going to go with you in saying that BoA is probably going to advance out of this group, and right now in first place. But yeah. Okay, we're just about ready to jump into this game here. Ultra against BoA in the winners match of Group A of the 2021 Russian Cyber Games on Tau Cross, game number 1.
All right, in the top right, we have BoA as the blue Protoss.
And his opponent, once again, 5:30-ish o'clock, as the red Terran. He is Ultra.
Now, I think this is BoA favored pretty significantly, but I only say this because Ultra's worst matchup by far is against Protoss. And BoA, from what I've seen, has very solid and strong PvT. I've seen him go toe-to-toe with TerrOr and Dandy, and they are much superior players to Ultra and TVP. That being said, I would not be surprised if BoA lost to some one-base strategies here. Some 3 tank timings off 1 base 2 factories. And I'm curious, because in a longer game, I expect BoA to win. But in a short, quick match, it's either anyone's game.
I really enjoy listening to you trying to build a case for BoA, as opposed to just saying, he's Protoss and it's a PvT. As for the reasons as to why he might be favored in this matchup. But yeah, we'll see how it pans out. We do have a nice, we've got nice building placement here from Ultra, already making it a little bit easier for him, for himself to micro if those zealots were to make it across the map. We'll see if BoA goes for a zealot opening or not.
Now, Ultra does play standard TVP a lot, but he does also make some 2 facts. Another thing I'd probably expect is maybe a 10-10-10, but already throwing that out the window with that 11 racks. And standard so far from both players. We're going to see what happens once that factory goes down. Does he keep 3 on gas?
Yeah, a 2 fact would be really powerful here, because you don't have to worry about any ramps as a Terran. So it makes it so much easier to actually push into your opponent, whether it be the natural or the main base. Nonetheless, I mean, I'm a 2 fact aficionado, as you might know. So
yeah, and here we go, 3 on gas. Not surprising at all. Not surprising at all.
Oh yeah.
Now, this doesn't mean Protoss goes for 1 base, 1 gate nexus, it's game over. It's really going to come down to Dragoon micro and decision making when you're defending that push. We should expect a turn rate around 16-20, so perfectly fine. Ultra getting that second Marine out. If BoA, for example, went for Zealot first, then it's kind of interesting when Protoss goes for Zealot first, because 2 Marines are not enough. So you get that second factory scouted right away. But BoA playing very, very standard. You see, not even making a probe go out to scout, just going right away for maximum economy. It's going to mean he's not going to have any sense that this is coming. Ultra can even disguise this by making a forward bunker as well, like he did against Terra, and here we go.
Yeah, this bunker is really smart, because if, as you said, if BoA were to make it across the map to scout, he would expect there to be a command center follow-up in the natural. Now, this is going to slow this 2-fact down a little bit. He's going to have to cut corners wherever possible, maybe make a fewer Marines than you ideally want to. He's even floating the barracks to sell this story better, floating it towards the natural. And then the question is what kind of a 2-fact follow-up this is going to be. Because there's a few styles.
Yeah, this could either be 3 tank with Vulture Rally. It could be 1 tank with Vulture Rally. I've even seen 5 tank, and less common because it basically dies to anything other than what BoA is doing. But
I think you only go for 5 tank if your opponents go for a 2-gate goon opening. Because if there's a 2-gate, you either go defensive or you go 5 tank, I think. Because 3 tank just dies.
Okay, we have 3 tank and we have the first upgrade that should be speed, which takes longer than mines.
Yep.
And it is going to be 3 tank and BoA. Okay, at least denies the Nexus from being scouted, but Ultra should expect that. And we see 1 gate Robo, no second gateway quite yet. It's very important to get that second gateway. Oh, Dragoon taking shield damage. Does it actually take health? It looks like 1 tank shot goes off. Everything is important here. Everything is critical here in the early stages when you're going up against push. One thing Ultra doesn't have is a ton of Marines to support. He's only gonna have 2. And here we go. This is so risky. There's only 2 Marines in the bunker, but 1 Dragoon goes down. That was a very, very bad miss micro from BoA, and I think, unfortunately, this is going to be near impossible hold for him. He is getting a shield battery, but again, no second gateway. He's going to follow us up with Reaver. Can he buy enough time? The thing is, he could actually lose his natural here and possibly come back, but just look at how quick this push gets to his natural.
I mean, it would be possible if he had a ramp going up into the main base, but here, here we do have a Vulture slipping past, planting a few mines, at least, slowing these Dragoons down a little bit, not really managing to get any connections there. Do have a shield battery in the natural, more buildings being placed down to slow this turn, push down as much as he can.
Again, not a ton of Marines here.
Does he have siege on the way? That's the question. Can we check? No, he doesn't. So this is just going to be a Vulture follow-up.
Yeah, if he had siege, researching now, it would hit just as the Reaver pops up. But yeah, no siege. He does need to power this battery though. And here we go. Here comes the move in. Looks like Dragoon's gonna sacrifice itself.
Yeah, this is looking worse and worse for BoA here. So
the tank's in the back, very nicely microed there. Reaver is out, so game is not over. But again, look, the tanks haven't died. No tanks have gone down. That one that was targeted, it was repaired right away by Ultra. Here comes the Reaver. It's only 2 Dragoons. Does he have a second gateway finally? It looks like it does.
He could actually stop this push with good micro. This is why I was asking whether he would have, that siege or not.
Oh, that mine, does it go off? Looks like no. What the? It detonated, but it was picked off right before taking any damage. I mean, this is at least BoA has some options here, but this is still going to be a very hard position to hold with siege and now turrets.
Yeah, I think you just go for a counter here and hope to maybe get a few good pot shots later on against the tanks, against the Vultures. Like, there is no way to engage those tanks once they've got siege and a few turrets around them.
I mean, economically, this game isn't over for BoA. The problem is he's going to have a very difficult time breaking out of his base. It's going to be hard to clear that out. It's not impossible if he gets a... Oh, okay, now it's impossible.
Yeah.
Now there's... The options for counterplay are gone, so Ultra only has to focus on containing, doesn't have to focus on defending at all. For example, look at how clumped these tanks are. If this were Bonnet, for example, like Bonnet would clear those tanks out with 2 Scarabs and sacrifice the Dragoon for it. But looks like the shuttle died on the retreat as well, so I mean, now it's over. Tanks can actually siege one of the gateways.
Yeah, it's not even like he needs to finish the game here, I think. He's got such a strong position here outside BoA's main base. Even going to get that one gateway, as you said.
Yeah, DT not gonna be able to make it out in time. Second shuttle being made, and I mean, unfortunately for BoA, just the costly units, the Reaver and the shuttle, went down right away, and you really want to maximize the amount of damage you do with them.
Yeah, we've got a natural going up for Ultra. Curious to see whether he's going to rally those tanks across the map or if he's going to expect some kind of counterplay from his opponent. He's got 4 more tanks rolling out across the map, pushing those turrets forward into the main base of his opponent. It's just looking more and more shabby here for this for the Protoss player. Now he's going to go for that counter with 2 invisible men tucked away in that shuttle.
I mean, there's no units at Ultra's base. But nope, looks like he's going to retreat with the shuttle. But these tanks are just going to slowly creep forward. It's like only Dragoons being made. 1 DT, but with detection, not very effective unit. Looks like they're going to die right away. And where is the shuttle? What is it actually doing? Looks like it's just going to go for a counterattack. But this is...
Yeah, we're just witnessing the death throes of BoA here. He's struggling to accept the fact that he's lost. I mean, he's trying to find some damage on the other side of the map with those invisible men, and he does manage to pick off 1 tank, but oh, he manages to get another one. He's now going to go after that turret. Is he doing it?
No, Vultures win mines. Even if Ultra loses every SCV, the fact that he's gonna kill BoA's main here, and look at the units that are left over for Ultra.
Yeah, he's got his natural all secured. Even planting a few turrets there to make sure that those invisible men don't throw a wrench in the works. The Reaver gets picked off. There's no coming back here. He's doing his best with what little he has, but that's probably not going to be enough.
Yeah, I mean, this was a ton of mistakes made by BoA. The Reaver going down, the shuttle following that, the dive on that 1 tank, not killing it. Maybe that was turn rate issue. Maybe it's just a miscontrol, but once you lose 1 Dragoon and take a ton of damage on another without picking off the tank, that's basically game over.
Yeah, I think he got a little bit too greedy by not, going for that early probe scout. Maybe that would have helped a little bit, give him a good read on what his opponent was trying to do. Nonetheless, I really liked how Ultra was trying to conceal his intentions with a bunker. Then he even floated the barracks towards the wall to even better sell the idea that he was going for a command center. But as we noticed, or as we witnessed, that wasn't the case. That was a perfectly executed 2-fact from our Chilean Terran player in game number 1 against BoA. And he's just 1 map away from advancing to the top 8 and the offline portion of the tournament in Vladivostok.
Yeah, those who advance out of the group stages do get their all expenses paid trip to Russia. So pretty big difference, round of 16 to round of 8, and Ultra 1 win away. Who would have expected that?
Yeah, again, I was banking on TerrOr and g0rynich making it out of this group, but Ultra really, showing in full force, full steam ahead, just plowing through his opponents in this group, getting a 2-0 over TerrOr, now up 1-0 against BoA, and I think we're just about ready to jump into game number 2. Hopefully, if we could learn what map it is. It's Eclipse. All right, I think that's a really strong choice for a Protoss.
Yeah, Eclipse, probably the best map for PvT in this map pool, other than Talcross.
You think Fighting Spirit isn't as... Talcross is better than Fighting Spirit for Protoss?
Yeah. I don't think Fighting Spirit's a great PvT map. It's okay, it's not like...
I mean, if you know how to handle a 3-base Terran, definitely. Because taking a 4th on Fighting Spirit as Terran feels really difficult in PvT. At least in my experience. But, Alright, we'll see. Game number 2, Eclipse BoA going up against UltrA, who's just one map away from that trip to Russia. Let's go.
All right, in the top right, we have BoA as the white Terran.
And his opponent in the bottom left as the blue Terran. He is UltrA, currently up 1-0 in the series.
Okay, here we go. BoA not wanting to risk anything. He's gonna go for a proxy gateway.
This dirty Protoss. Seriously, proxy gateways. Who would have thought?
Now as BoA, I'm pretty sure he's gonna go right outside the third area. Okay, there it is. And UltrA, it's gonna come down to control. Any early game strategy is gonna come down to control. But if, for example, BoA were to gas steal here, I think UltrA should follow that up with a 2 racks. Oh, he canceled the first depot, misplaced first depot.
But
already
still,
a slight mistake here from UltrA.
This is the better spawn for Terran because you get 2 gaps between buildings here that you can micro against zealots, right? Between the barracks and the command center, and between the barracks and the supply depot.
Yeah,
whereas in the top right, it's a little bit more difficult because you need to place like 2 supply depots, I think. But still, this is a little bit easier, I think, for Terran. Now, unfortunately, he does have his gas stolen. And the question is he going to expect a proxy gateway or not?
He should be scouting for it right away. But, like I said, 2 racks, I think, is an adequate response here because Protoss is investing a lot. And with the 2 racks, you can kill that gateway right away instead of just defending. And here we go. SCV not going down. BoA being very annoying. And there's the second racks. Does the SCV actually scout? I can't see the minimap.
Oh, all right. He scouted the gateway, so perfect prediction there from you that the 2 racks will be the response of choice for UltrA.
Now I remember in BSL there was a game on blindside Oya against Koget where very similar response from Koget to go 2 racks, but unfortunately for him, he had a very difficult time moving out of the choke. And the Zealots were able to trade pretty effectively against Marines. And even though he had the 2 racks, he wasn't even able to kill a gateway.
Oh, he's even going to wall this off with another supply depot. Yeah, this makes it impossible for BoA to actually micro against these Marines. See, this is why this spawn is so much better for Terran.
Yeah, now what is BoA going to do to follow this up? He can't expand. Expanding is suicide. He's going to have to keep the production up. He knows UltrA is going to make a ton of Marines. So he really has to worry about the counter push that's going to come. Oh, 1 Marine gets trapped. I mean, not the end of the world, but every loss is painful here. The good thing for UltrA is that there's no way for BoA to get around this wall without going through the mineral line or behind. Look, and now he has to go through the mineral line. So, I mean, UltrA is very safe here. I don't really know why he's trying to push out so quickly before he has enough Marines.
Oh, yeah, as long as he doesn't lose any, then any damage, chipping away at those zealots is going to pay off in the long run. Now, the assimilator does make it a little bit more difficult to micro because you actually need to target those zealots lest your Marines target the assimilator by default.
Okay, so this is smart from BoA going for, what is UltrA doing? What is UltrA doing? Because even though he has the gaps, it's very hard for the Marines to get behind the wall cleanly when there's this many of them.
Yeah. But he's still doing a decent job. He can't afford to lose many more Marines than that. But I still think this was a relatively decent hold from UltrA. Now the question is he going to manage to turn the aggression around and maybe actually push out across the map and end this series?
You don't really push out because the Marines are very weak, and like this is what you don't want to do. You want the SCVs to block. You don't want the Zealots on top of the Marines. He is making that bunker to kill his gateway right away. Oh, nice SCV drill. That's what I'm talking about. You see the Zealots bugging out. But look how beefy they are. BoA's follow-up was very important. He got a second gateway out. the second gateway allows him to actually fight the Marines for a little bit of time before he can push out. And this is going south for Ultra. He's pulling way too many SCVs. He's really committed to kill this gateway, but you don't want to pull as many SCVs.
I don't think he expected there to be 3 zealots at the gateway, right?
No, it was maybe 2, and then 1 popped out, and unfortunately, the SCVs weren't blocking for the Marines.
Yeah, he's really committed here. Ultra is. Now we have a Dragoon popping out of that proxy gateway as well. Oh, this is going south very quickly for our Chilean Terran player.
Again, with the Dragoons out, range is going to be done soon. So the timing for Marines to be effective is shortly evaporating. But the key here was that second gateway from BoA. If you don't make that second gateway before the core, you won't have enough zealots to actually fight the Marine SCV before they can kill your first gateway. So the longer this first gateway stays alive, the better it is for Protoss, of course. But the fact that Ultra wasn't able to kill it at all means this game's over. And you saw every SCV he pulled, even with that, he wasn't able to kill the zealots. So
yeah, maybe getting a little bit sloppy there with the defense at the start, maybe getting a bit too greedy with a move out. Either way, this isn't looking too good for Ultra. 3 Dragoons against 4 Marines, with 1 Zealot also supporting the Protoss forces.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to hold this ramp, because if Dragoons get up the ramp, I mean, he's going to lose 1 Dragoon, which isn't really what you want to do. They have the same range as Marines when they don't have range. But what I think the problem was Ultra kept engaging with 6-7 Marines instead of waiting for critical mass. Because the more Marines you have, the more zealots they can engage effectively. It doesn't scale 1-to-1. Like 3 Marines will beat 1 zealot, but 9 Marines can crush 3 zealots with good micro. Range units just scale better. But Ultra a little bit impatient there, and BoA there tying it up.
Yeah, but we have to mention that he had a really good setup at the start to actually hold this off without, suffering any losses there.
Yeah, that second debolt to seal it off completely, that was actually pretty impressive. I didn't even consider that, but nice a micro, I guess, from BoA, and he ties it up 1-to-1, and now we have the ace match with a spot in the trip to, where did you say it was?
I think it's in Vladivostok.
There we go.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's what it says on Wikipedia, unless Wikipedia lies. But yeah, not far from South Korea, I think, Vladivostok. I don't know, I'm not good at geography. I'm gonna Google that. Zero says you can go for a quick swim from Vladivostok to South Korea. Yeah, it's not that far. You just have North Korea in the way. All right. So as you said, the ace match between Ultra and BoA with a ticket to Vladivostok on the line, just about to start. Do we know what map it is? It's going to be Fighting Spirit. So Ultra probably agreeing with you that it's a slightly better Terran map than it is a Protoss.
Yeah, the choice of Fighting Spirit and Circuit Breaker.
Yeah, you always go for Circuit Breaker in that
You
situation.
gotta go for Circuit Breaker in that, but maybe he's comfortable on the 3-base style. Doesn't really plan to do much more than that, or maybe he's gonna do some kind of 2-fact again.
Right. Circuit Breaker is like Fighting Spirit with the added option of going for a 4th if you need it, right?
Yeah.
It's Terran, so I don't know. Maybe he's got something planned, something prepared there to actually close the series out. We're just about ready to jump in, so without further ado, let's find out who is going to be our first player to go to Russia.
All right, we have Ultra as the white Terran in the bottom left. The map is Fighting Spirit.
And his opponent in the bottom right as the red Protoss, our American player BoA.
All right, so horizontal spawn Fighting Spirit. I think this is more likely that we're going to see some kind of 2-base timing from Ultra, and we have a kind of forward gateway. This just makes it so you can make the gateway on the low ground from BoA. And I think this is a good response from BoA. He lost to 2fact in game 1, so he wants to get some. He wants to be the one that dictates the play. Unfortunately for BoA, Ultra is actually going to go for a full wall here.
Yeah, so do you think this is going to be, again, something, you know, like a hidden push with his full wall off, or is he just being super safe?
This could definitely be a push. He could hide his 2fact with a wall a lot better. You don't have to make a ton of Marines to do so.
Yep. That's going to be quite annoying.
Fortunately for Ultra, he did get scouted right away.
Yeah.
And we even have a pylon to block.
Yeah, things going south already here for Ultra.
All right, gas right away, so not delaying his tech a ton. This is probably going to be 2 Zealot Cybernetics core and then another Zealot. Could be 2 Zealots and the Cybernetics core. Looks like it is going to be 2 Zealots. Yeah, okay, so 2 Zealots and the Cybernetics core. You get your tech slightly delayed, but not so much so, and he is going to do this and hope that that first Zealot gets in before his pylon goes down, because otherwise the Zealots that follow it up aren't going to be able to do anything.
It's worth mentioning that BoA, like this change of direction that BoA has gone for, it's really interesting, really refreshing, because it shows you that, you know, he actually thinks about what he wants to do. In game number 1, he went for a super greedy build where he didn't even go for a scout, and then decided, you know, I can't keep playing like that against this guy. I need to be, you know, the one applying the pressure. I need to be the one to actually get a bit more aggressive. We have the Zealots sliding past the SCVs. Wow, picking off both Marines now. We have a shield battery also finished. Oh, this is looking terrible for Ultra.
So I was gonna say, man, this is a lot. BoA is investing 2 pylons and a shield battery, and this isn't gonna get anything done. And then I see the SCVs go attack the pylon instead of hold position. Zealot gets in, kills 2 Marines. Now second Zealot arrives. First Zealot's still alive. He can regen with the shield. And I mean, from what looked like a very easy hold, all of a sudden, I think Ultra's just gonna tap out here.
Yeah, this might be game. He's already taken so much damage, losing all those Marines, losing all those SCVs. He's down to 13 against the 16 of his opponent, and he's still got 2 Zealots running rampant in the main base of our Terran player. Now we do have a Vulture on the way, but the question is, do we have a Dragoon also queued up in the gateway already? I think we might.
Oh man, Probe even gets a Marine.
Yeah.
Okay, so more Zealots being made. Is this a Citadel follow-up? Why do we see so many Zealots? Yeah. Okay, so Ultra is not going to die here, but this is still looking pretty grim for him.
I mean, there's going to be invisible men in his main base pretty soon, and you really don't want that as Terran. I mean, let me tell you that.
Second gateway going down, so Ultra will hold off, and the economy, I mean, it's pretty bad being down 4 workers this early, but it's not game over. It's not game over. If this was a Dragoon follow-up, I think this would have already been game over, but there's a chance here for Ultra.
We have the Chinese message telling us that we've been playing for too long. We need to take a break. Zero, please. Fight your addiction. Switch this game off.
Full wall here, and I mean the DTs, again, there's a full wall, so the DTs, is this DT drop?
It might be. I mean,
oh man, it's DT drop. Okay, so I was gonna say the wall, all of a sudden, no, the wall is not gonna protect you anymore. I mean, it might look like Ultra can stabilize here, but the tech that BoA has at his disposal here is just insane. It's going to be impossible for Ultra to get a second base at any time, basically. And after making 2 or 4 DTs, BoA can just double expand, and there's not much for Ultra here.
Yeah, this is also incredibly costly for Ultra because he's going to have to first build like 3 turrets in his main base to keep everything safe. And then, you know, as he chooses to expand, he's also going to have to invest in more and more turrets to cover more ground, especially since his opponent is, as you said, going for a shuttle.
Yeah, we have Ultra scouting, and this vulture is going to get to the net and not see anything. But as you can see, he's actually already preparing for this kind of play. He should already know that, I mean, there's not a ton of options here. You can't go for just DTs because there's a wall, so...
It's either DTs or Reaver, right? With a shuttle, obviously. So either way, you have to invest in turrets to keep yourself safe. So even though, you know, he knows what his opponent is going for, he still can't really avoid not building those turrets and being super defensive.
You can see just one gap here.
Yeah.
And now the depot's gonna go down, the turrets are gonna go down. Again, BoA much faster second base and much faster likely third base if it gets that far. And look how many turrets is. It's already 4 turrets plus 1 that died. A depot died, Ultra supply blocked here. Even though those supplies and worker count are close, this is a massive advantage for BoA.
Yeah, I don't even think that Ultra has a follow-up. Like a valid follow-up here, because his opponent has gone for a Nexus.
I mean, he's getting a scanner, but just think about how many scans you need against a shuttle that can pick up and drop DTs basically at any time because you don't have anti-air. So just 0 options. But again, this is 1 game away. The winner of this match goes to Russia, goes into the round of 8.
Yeah, but like if you're expanding as clearly Ultra is doing, you don't really need to go for that academy, I don't think. If you've already invested in those turrets. Although he might think that banking scans for later is the right way to go. It's really a tricky situation to be in as Terran. Because there doesn't seem to be a right answer anymore. Right? Like, it's no longer Ultra's game to win at any point. Like, BoA would need to mess up pretty badly to throw away the advantage that he's already managed to build up for himself.
Yeah. Third to work is 227, but again, the tech advantage is huge for BoA. I mean, the only options, I mean, it's too late because you can't get the SCV out. If Ultra were to hide a third and just turtle from there, maybe he could come back, but... Only other thing I see is maybe BoA suiciding, trying to bust a natural.
Yeah.
But no, looks like BoA's just going to transition into arbiters from this. You're going to have very, very fast arbiters. And this is a very comfortable position for Protoss. You basically have the entire map to do whatever you want, as Terran is going to be contained for a very long time. And looks like he's using that shuttle to scout for hidden thirds, which is pretty smart.
Yeah, definitely. Needs to check that his opponent is indeed as far behind as he believes him to be. Obviously, we know that there is no third anywhere, because we have the power to switch off the fog of war. We see everything, but that is not the case for BoA. Definitely a very prudent approach to use that shuttle to scout. I mean, it's not like you're doing anything else with it, right? It's not like you're going to be able to sneak into the main base of our Terran player now that he's invested in that many turrets. So you might as well use it for a slightly different purpose.
Yeah, with Terran expanding, it's smart for BoA here to just take that third. Looks like this turret is actually going to be annoying if that shuttle decides to go in. Scan goes off, but doesn't actually see the Stargate.
Yep. And also, I think there was a slight mistake there by BoA at the third, where he allowed the Vulture to come in to the 3 o'clock and see that there was no Nexus.
Yeah, he could have held position the Dragoon there at the ramp, just to deny as much information as possible. Again, Ultra, okay, he's gonna go for timing, and man, this is, I guess it's its only option, but it's really, really not gonna work. It's gonna be so slow, and by the time he's gonna have to utilize so many scans on just the DTs by the time the Arbiter is out. there's not going to be that much section left. And again, look at the gas from Ultra. Second gas still not down.
Yeah, he's like about 25 army supply behind. He's only just now getting his third and fourth and fifth factories. Meanwhile, BoA is already sitting on like 7 gateways, getting his arbiters. This is a very basic army, very basic army from Ultra. Just a few tanks and a few Goliaths to snipe the shuttle. He doesn't even have a fourth Goliath, I don't think, which is the magic number you have for shuttles to two-shot them. So,
is there a Nexus at the third from BoA? Because
not yet.
Okay, wisely not taking that right away. You don't really need it. Even 2 base against 2 base, the fact that you're going to have arbiters, it's more powerful than an extra base. And here we have the transition into speed launch, which is going to be key at holding off this timing. Only 1 add-on, so this is not going to be a ton of tanks from Ultra. Arbiter already out, and now the clock is ticking. Every second that passes is more energy for that arbiter. More likely he's going to have to eat a stasis, and again, the timing is evaporating, the timing window for Ultra. He does have +1, but that's not a very how do I say this? It doesn't really do that much when you have so few units.
Yeah, I mean, now those DTs are going to be twice as invisible as they normally are without Arbiter. You're going to have to scan twice to actually see them.
I feel like if you have Arbiter and the unit's already cloaked, you should need scan and a turret to see it. Maybe some double stacking.
No, you shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So here we go. This is how slow the push is going to be. I don't even think Ultra can get out of his bridge, because look at the arc BoA is going to have. He can just collapse on the whatever small army.
I don't want to look.
Push out of this.
Just tell me when it's over.
Oh man, we're going to have a stasis on top of this pretty soon. This is it's gonna get smashed. Like, he should stasis the back army, not the front. Okay. I mean, this is not the greatest stasis because now the tanks are being warded off. But we have 4 DTs being dropped on all the tanks, and DTs have a ton of DPS. Again, the Zealous struggling to filter through, but just too much Protoss. Look how much this.
Yeah, this army there's no stopping it. This is all but over. Ultra is just coming to terms with the fact that he's not going to be going to Russia, not advancing in first place out of Group A. But BoA somehow, some way, managing to climb his way back into the series after losing that #1. And man, there you have it.
Think about it from Ultra's perspective. Think about it. You're 1 win away. Things are working well for you in game 2. You got 2 barracks, and then from there, he loses both matches pretty quickly, and well, he still has a shot here. He can get out of the group by beating either g0rynich or TerrOr.
This is why I said you want to avoid TVP at all costs when you're Terran. You don't want to play this matchup. Trust me, you don't. You really don't. If you're Ultra, you'd rather go up against TerrOr twice or even 3 times in the same group. But yeah, congratulations to BoA, our first top 8 finisher, who's secured himself a ticket to Russia, to Vladivostok, to duke it out for the grand prize purse of $10,000 that we have in this tournament. Also, a quick reminder that if we do manage to match the prize pool with donations of $10,000, we are going to have another RCG next year. So, yeah, worth mentioning that. Congratulations to BoA, and I mean, Ultra still has a chance, right? This is a double elimination group, which means we have 2 players advancing out of every single group in the group stage, and we have 3 players in contention for that second spot in Group A. Ultra now falling down to the decider match, and he's going to be going up against the winner of g0rynich against TerrOr in the losers match that I think we are going to be jumping into in just a minute.
Yeah, TerrOr in the losers match. Not something you would expect, but he's gonna have to go up against g0rynich. And around BSL 8 or 9, I think, when I think g0rynich was at the peak of his powers, I would have actually said g0rynich is pretty even with TerrOr. I would, like, 50-50 would not surprise me, because I think up until then, g0rynich had a very strong win rate against TerrOr. But since BSL 9, TerrOr has gone to, I think, 3 finals, RCG, and then BSL twice. So TerrOr has improved a ton since then. So I think I'm pretty confident saying that TerrOr should be favored against g0rynich.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the thing is, g0rynich, from my understanding, he doesn't necessarily like to play against mech.
That is true.
TerrOr doesn't strike me as a mech player. Now, he does have a very diverse play set, right? He plays a very diverse set of strategies, but he doesn't really strike me as a mech player. So maybe that is going to come into play here as well, where if he goes for bio, this is a style that g0rynich doesn't necessarily struggle against too much.
Yeah, so, from TerrOr, from what I've seen TVC, he does mix it up a ton. There's a lot of 1-1-1 variants he can pull out. Can also play standard 2 racks tech, and he can also mix in mech. But what TerrOr's mech has been like, from what I've seen, is turtle style. It doesn't go for timings, just turtles. Gets that 3-2 mech out and then just kills the Zerg. But not expecting that at all in this match.
All right, so we do have our first game loaded up here. The elimination match of Group A. TerrOr going up against g0rynich for a chance to face up against UltrA for that final spot in the top 8 of the tournament.
All right, in the 12 o'clock spawn, we have g0rynich as the yellow Zerg.
In the 8-ish o'clock spawn, the purple Terran, he is TerrOr, the reigning BSL champion, who I thought will be making out of this group in first place. No trouble whatsoever. But here we are.
From what I think TerrOr does on this map is he likes to wall off. So we're gonna have, okay, so depot, barracks, depot, wall here, and from that he can go into 1-1-1, just standard bio, even mech. So this is a good map for a player like TerrOr, who really mixes it up, especially in this matchup.
Do you think we're going to see 2 starports from TerrOr in this series at all?
If this were Koget, I would say every game is going to be a 2-star part. But since it's TerrOr, not something I've seen him do at all, actually.
Well,
g0rynich going to go for 12 hatch, and like the only Terrans I see go for 2-star port are XPX and Koget, especially.
Yeah, we'll be seeing Koget tomorrow.
Are we seeing Koget's Terran or Koget's Zerg?
I'm not sure. I think he's race picking.
What does he race pick?
I think he selects Zerg against Protoss, definitely.
Really? So TVT still?
I don't know. I mean, again, you don't want to play TVP if you're Terran, so you do anything you want to avoid it. I don't know. He's definitely gonna want to play TVZ. Like, if he's going up against Zerg, he definitely picks Terran still.
Right.
Against the other races, I think.
Because he might.
Zerg. I don't know.
Like, Koget's TVT is very strong. He might.
Yeah.
Still, yeah, you're right. He probably will just race pick against Protoss, which is pretty interesting.
Because he used to main Zerg.
Yeah. All right. Enough about Koget. We'll talk about him when his group is up. And we have TerrOr again. 1 SV on gas. Like I said, not surprising. He's gonna go for something with tech. So it's nice to have that wall off. And he actually got away with making 0 Marines, which is very, very important. If you're gonna follow us up with a command center, all of a sudden you get that 50 minimals faster. And g0rynich with the 2 hatch play.
Yeah, curious to see what kind of a follow-up this is going to be for TerrOr. Oh, I think, see, we told you to stop playing because you need to, like, this game is addictive, Zero. This is enough StarCraft for you today. The game has switched itself off, which means you now need to go and study some, young man.
I like those X too much.
Is that what's happening?
Oh, that is interesting. If you box select units, sorry, if you box select eggs as an observer, the game crashes.
That's new. I'm glad. I'm glad the game is still being updated 20 something years later. We're getting all these new features like
new ways to enjoy StarCraft.
Alright. Well, TerrOr is going for some kind of tech, and we have 2 hatch layer off of 12 hatch from g0rynich. Economically focused opening from both players.
So do you think this is going to be a 1-1-1 from TerrOr?
I think so. I think it's going to be a 1-1-1 from TerrOr. I've seen him do it. When he goes tech, I say like 85% of the time it's going to be 1-1-1 and then a 15% mech, which is actually a good ratio to mix in because you don't want to be predictable. You don't want your opponent to be expecting or predicting the build you're doing. And here we have Spire. I mean, not a great position for a Spire. You kind of want to use it to wall off against Vulture run-bys. But it's fine. You want it at the front. You also don't get it scouted there. And looks like it actually is going to be mech from TerrOr.
2 fat Goliaths. There we go. That's a really good build. I mean, I don't really understand why no one plays it anymore. I mean, maybe the maps, you know, it used to be quite standard like 3-4 years ago, I think, to go for that 2 fat Goliath opening in TVZ. But nowadays it's all about, you know, bio into SK Terran all the way. No mech switch later on either. But yeah, really interesting to see this from our Terran player.
And g0rynich is going to go for 2 hatch Muna, already getting that 3rd hatch down. I've seen Zergs even go 4 hatch before 2nd gas to really maximize the amount of minerals they're getting. But looks like g0rynich is going to go for that quick Muta. Is he going to invest in +1 armor or attack is the next question. And what is his follow-up going to be? Just more mutas, or does he eventually go into hydras? It's like TerrOr going to go try to get some drones, 3 vultures, the magic number to one-shot drones. Of course, if 2 vultures shoot a drone, the drone instantly regens and makes it have 1 HP after both shots. So 3 is the number you want.
Imba.
I mean, those are pretty interesting like ways to balance the game, because probes, for example, 2 vultures kill a probe in 1 volley, but the drone regen being instant makes it so that you need that 3rd vulture.
It's really interesting you called it balance. But leaving that aside.
All right, good turret timing.
Yeah, we have the first Goliath popping out. Likewise, the Muta's now chasing the vultures. So what kind of a follow-up is this going to be from TerrOr? He's not going for +1. Which I think you want to do. Most of the time. You could definitely afford it.
Or maybe he just forgot. Is it +1 armor or attack that he's going to go into? And sometimes you even see bio switches to go for Goliath marine timing, but with no signs of that. Okay, looks like the Muta's getting in, but nice perimeter coverage from TerrOr. And we're going to see g0rynich switch into hydras. So this is what I was talking about. Sometimes you see Zergs go 4 hatch without that 2nd gas, and then it makes it transition into hydras that much faster with that 3rd base getting up faster. We have a suicidal Muta getting at that full scout.
Yeah, he's looking for those extra barracks that they were talking about. That was also quite a popular style like a year or 2 ago, revived by Sorry, I think.
All right, so this is going to be a long, how do you call this? This is not going to be a timing. He's going to switch into vultures, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have speed and +1 attack. Yeah, and the +1 attack is critical here so that the vultures can 2-shot instead of 3-shot the drones. And TerrOr is going to play this out into a longer type of game.
But you still think that this situation favors g0rynich if you're going for, you know, when TerrOr is not going for a timing with this against 2 hatch Muta?
What information does g0rynich have currently? He knows
everything.
There were only 2 factories, right?
Yeah.
And he knows this isn't going to be a timing. TerrOr is still going to push out with his first 12 Goliaths to put some kind of pressure on, but g0rynich, he actually probably should have droned heavier than this. this wasn't a timing. There's not really that much pressure to get a ton of units out. So all these Hydras he's gonna make are gonna not necessarily be useless, but they're not gonna accomplish much either. So what Terra is doing here is actually scaling into the late game with these upgrades. His eBay, what is it called? The facility, the science facility is already about to be done. So he's gonna get 2-1 started. In the meantime, g0rynich against this, he's gonna need a ton of economy, a ton of production, and he's not really doing that.
It's very interesting to see that g0rynich has seemingly adjusted his play against Mech, because I remember seeing a few games of him against like very similar builds from the Terran, where he would go for double expansion after the 2-hatch muta opening. But that is not the case here, only just 1 hatchery. And the Hydra switch.
Yeah, you could definitely have the mineral only as well here. And he's going to go for queens, which is the correct play. Because queens just ignore all the upgrades Terran has. And then you can overrun if you can kill enough of the tanks. But, I mean, the economy situation is not great for g0rynich. He's still only on 34 drones. Doesn't have that third fully saturated yet. But the queens are exciting. Queens are very, very good unit. Underrated unit. And, I mean, Terra should know what's coming, right? He sees there's so few meterless. They don't have upgrades, which is important. And now he's going to see a ton of Hydras. So, g0rynich, oh, what a mine.
Yeah. Well, this was a bit of a misstep from g0rynich, I think. I don't think he wanted to actually push in, as opposed to just scare his opponent. You know, because he's buying time. He's going for those queens, as you said. So in this situation, you don't really need to push in. You just need to like telegraph aggression to your opponent. Whereas, you know, losing those few Hydras definitely puts a damper on any aggression that g0rynich might want to once again apply.
Yeah, I'm not really sure g0rynich's game plan is being executed well, because he's not making all his queens at once. He's kind of staggering them, which isn't what you want to do. You want all of them to have energy at the same time so you can go for that big bust. Otherwise, what good is it to have 5 queens and then 5 queens if you can't use all 10 at once? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like he gave up the economic momentum that he could have had, maybe with that quicker thought that he's now building at the mineral only. He still has map control. He's making sure to clear out those mines, clear out the vultures as well. But I mean, Terror's macro is in full swing now. He's on 3 bases, 3 gases. Obviously, there's a lower gas count at the 3rd that he's taken, but he's still in a very healthy position. As you said, he went for that super quick science facility. He's got +2, about halfway done, if I'm not mistaken.
So this is where I'm looking at the position and the supplies, and there's a large difference in worker count. So it means those army supplies are actually in favor of g0rynich. A vulture drop coming in. This is going to hurt g0rynich's economy even more.
Yeah, he's planting those mines, making it so much more difficult to actually clear out this attack. Now, fortunately, g0rynich does have a few mutas still left over to try and help against this dropship. Really quite cleverly hiding those queens in the top right-hand corner. I don't think g0rynich has scouted them. He sees the queen's nest. He doesn't see a hive. I think it's relatively safe to assume that the queens are going to be there. Now, the problem for TerrOr here is that his 4th is probably going to be a mineral only. Because I don't know if going for that gas base south of his 3rd is actually a viable choice. Yeah, he's going to go for that mineral only.
And if you can see, g0rynich's worker count slowly being built back up. TerrOr, on the other hand, what the key here is, other than the upgrades, of course, is the amount of tanks he has, which is actually pretty low. If these tanks were all to be broodling, he could get busted. And it might look like TerrOr is in a commanding position, but his army is actually very weak. Unfortunately for g0rynich, it's going to be hard to do that. TerrOr has a very nice awareness on the map, a lot of vision. So if he sees those queens approaching, he can respond with the Goliaths, pick them off. And he has to be careful not to overextend taking this mineral only. Actually, a little bit.
He doesn't necessarily know where those queens are. So you could assume they're in the top right-hand corner, but he's not going to know the actual angle of their approach. And like, the one thing I don't like about g0rynich's play is that he's not trying to take the bottom right as aggressively as maybe he probably could.
Yeah, I think g0rynich is gonna go for one big bust attempt, and that's his game plan. He's not really concerned with getting more economy, more bases. It's all about this bust, and he's gonna wait for his queens to all have 150, and he's gonna try to execute it as best he can. You kind of want these mutas though alive so they can take the initial fire from the Goliath so your queens don't die. Don't want to sacrifice them like this willy-nilly. I mean, there's a timer for g0rynich, and it's about 1 minute before Terra can stabilize completely. Like, this is a good opportunity for the queens. You can see these tanks are very exposed, but no reaction. They have enough energy, but no movement.
Yeah, still stashed away in the top right.
Okay, so it looks like he's found a vulnerable area. If he can distract Terror and have his tanks being moved instead of being in siege position, it could open a window for him to attack. The third base has the south side only being covered by mines. He can find a good angle there, but he really shouldn't commit his entire army to that one location. The choke will work against him here.
Yeah, the queens are now joining the fray. Joining the front line, I should say.
Oh, again, this is not the angle to attack from by g0rynich. He will kill the base probably, but he's going to lose his entire army, and the queens aren't going to be able to be used from this angle.
Well,
rerouting here we go. Can they get the Broodlings off? Looks like 2 irradiates going down. No Broodlings. Where are they? Okay, some Broodlings going down. Not very cleanly executed, but he is killing off some of the tanks. More tanks coming in from the back. But again, look at the Hydras, how pumped they get when they attack this position. And the repair is insane on the command center. And g0rynich actually loses everything.
Yeah, he really bolstered up here. I mean, his macro is slipping as well. He's on 1,300 minerals and hardly any gas. See, this is the problem with him not taking the bottom right. He doesn't have access to sufficient gas geysers to actually supplement his production here. Still 1,200 minerals and really nothing to spend it on. He doesn't even have the lava. And yeah, oh, he's going to be cheesed off about this probably. Like, he had 12 queens full of energy. And that clearly wasn't the right way to approach the Terran army. Now tanking quite a lot of mines with his Hydras in the top left as he approaches the mineral only of his opponent. Things are looking really grim for g0rynich as he falls below 100 supply. Now that's usually not a problem for Zerg, but if the Terran is at 150, what are the upgrades on those tanks?
2-1.
2-1. Okay, yeah, this is, you know, not as bad as it could be if he had 3-2, but still pretty scary position to be in if you're the Zerg. You're now going to have your 3 o'clock sieged by Terra. There's hardly anything to support these Hydras. Yeah, I don't see a way back in.
Yeah, even if he were to go for a muta switch, which he can't do because he doesn't have gas, even if he kills this army, Terra has 4, soon to be 5 bases. He's on equal economy. His upgrades are going to be superior. The queens are a big X factor, but even if you use every single Broodling on these tanks, it's just the economy here for g0rynich. It doesn't have the gas, doesn't have the amount of production he would need to fight mech head to head.
Yeah, really quite prudent of Terra not to send his entire army towards that 3 o'clock so as not to expose himself to a counter-attack from his opponent, which, as we can see, g0rynich was trying to pull off with a small unit of Hydras. Now we do have those queens joining the front line once again. Maybe picking off a few tanks? No?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I don't get it. Okay, it looks like he's gonna clear off all his tanks, but he lost all those drones and the hatchery, the base.
We're just showing off his toys. But I've got queens. Jealous? Right. Well, manages to clear out that army, but he lost the 3 o'clock, and he doesn't have the bottom right. He's down to 2 gases. Probably his main already depleted, I would reckon. Oh, not yet. Okay.
And Terror got that 5th base, and now he's going to get 3-2 pretty soon if he doesn't already have it. Looks like he does. and this game's over. It's gonna come down, or it came down to that one moment where g0rynich tried to bust, because his strategy was built around that bust with the queens. He didn't have a big economy behind it, so it was really about breaking down TerrOr's third and then going for the kill. But the execution was not great. He came. Go ahead.
There's one thing to be said about TerrOr's defense that maybe made it impossible for g0rynich to actually go for a slightly better angle of approach, is that he had mines planted everywhere. Like literally there were so many mines planted between that third and the fourth that maybe it was just too difficult for g0rynich to find a good angle where those mines wouldn't be a problem for the Hydras.
Yeah, I mean, g0rynich could have cleared mines with Overlords and Hydras, but he just really focused on that one moment, and it didn't go well. Basically, what you want to do is you want to have a group of Hydras hit from that side. TerrOr moves his army, then you come in with your 4 mutas to take the Goliath fire, bruising whatever tanks you can, and have the majority of your Hydras come in from that big area between the mineral only and the natural, and try to get the best engagement you can. You don't want your Hydras to clump up, and you definitely want your queens to use their Broodlings, but unfortunately the control wasn't there. And of course, this is very easy to say and very hard to execute, but it's just what it came down to.
Yep. So we do have TerrOr winning that map number 1 in the elimination match against g0rynich. One more game to go if he wants to get another shot at taking down UltrA. And we've just been informed that game number 2 of the series is going to be on Circuit Breakers. So an interesting choice for g0rynich.
I'm looking at the map pool. I guess the best ZVT map is probably Eclipse.
Maybe because you get that third gas that the Terran can't really attack, and then when you have your third gas, that's the most crucial one. If you then want to get up to a full hatchery, if you want to have actually enough lurkers whilst still teching into Hive. So, but he might be looking for a different approach to this series, where he goes for a super, like one of the biggest maps to make it possible to expand all over the place and pull TerrOr apart with that kind of playstyle. But we'll see. Game number 2, Circuit Breakers TerrOr against g0rynich, starting now.
Right, in the bottom left corner, we have what color is this? Blue? Purple?
Dark blue, but we're going to swap for red and blue.
All right, so here we have the red Zerg, g0rynich in the bottom left on Circuit Breaker.
And his opponent in the top right is the blue Terran. He is TerrOr, currently up 1-0 in the series. I think these are really good spawns for g0rynich. Not going to lie. Diagonal spawns, basically as far away from your opponent as possible. And it also gives you like 2 choices if you want to take a main, right, when you're expanding.
Right.
Like equally beneficial, I suppose.
Right. Well, TerrOr less likely to go mech on this map, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
But he definitely can still mix it up, going for 9 pull from g0rynich, already mixing it up. TerrOr, I've seen him go 14 command center against Zerg a ton when he has a 1-0 lead or a lead in a series. So maybe g0rynich also knows that. So he's gonna mix in that 9 pull. And it's actually going to be 9 pull speed, okay, never mind. 9 pull gas trick. Seen this a lot in ZVT lately, and he's going to use that extra drone to scout. And what is TerrOr going to do? Is he actually going to go for bio this time?
Oh, he's going for that regular Barracks Expo.
Yeah.
So this is already a really good opening for TerrOr, I feel, because, even though it's a 9 pull, this is diagonal. So those lings are going to take an extra amount of time to actually get across the map to apply any pressure. So.
And here we have TerrOr, and normally, for example, if TerrOr were to scout right away that there's a hatchery here, he would just go command center on 15 without any Marines. But because he doesn't get that scout, he's going to start making Marines and get that depot, and then from there, he'll keep making Marines once he sees the Overlord, so he knows where g0rynich is at. Knows their cross map, and here we have Marines. There's that depot being made, and again, this is all very standard for now. TerrOr is actually going to miss these 6 lings, but he's going to know based on the hatchery timing that this is a 9 pull.
Yeah. Well, the question is how many Marines does he actually make before the command center? Okay, now he knows that this is a 9 pull, so he's going to have to pull SCVs to actually block the ramp leading to the main base.
Yeah, you can see he was actually going to make the command center there, and that's actually a critical part of this. The fact that g0rynich is cross map, these lings are arriving a few seconds later, and nice SCV block there. Third SCV doesn't actually make it. And so we have the 5 lings still left over. Nice micro from TerrOr, and he's gonna actually kill all of these lings without losing a single Marine. This is already pretty bad for g0rynich.
Wow, I didn't think he would actually end up losing nothing.
I mean, he lost.
TerrOr, that was. Well, he lost 2 SCVs, sure. But...
Yeah, 2 SCVs, but that's not that bad for Terran. The high ground command center is okay, and the fact that he scouted that this was 9 pull, no speed, means he's pretty confident in going 1 racks command center instead of 2 racks or something like that.
So what are we thinking? Are we thinking some kind of timing to... Oh no, wait, he went for a refinery first before a second barracks.
Yeah, it's going to be +1.
Yeah, +1, 5 racks probably.
And
I was thinking he could go for a 2 racks timing, considering...
Yeah, normally you kind of want to do that to put pressure on Zerg to make them make even more units after losing a bunch in the early game, but TerrOr just gonna go for that +1 with the eBay, and he did do a fake move out there just so g0rynich made even more lings. And now this is something I've seen. Okay, g0rynich is hiding lings, so this is pretty smart. This is something I've seen where Terrans, okay, they're like, okay, they lost a bunch of lings, let's move out, but they actually commit, and if they commit to that move out, those Marines are forfeit, and then Zerg can come back if they kill that first group of Marines. So smart from TerrOr just to do the fake move out, not really gonna risk losing his Marines, but you still force Zerg into a position where they have to make units.
Yeah, but you know, it's a 3 hatch, so I don't think the counter potential is as potent there, so to say, even if you lose those Marines. But you know, maybe it was the smart thing to do to just move back and fake aggression as TerrOr.
Especially when you're going for +1, your second racks is very late, so every Marine has...
That makes sense.
Oh, nice block here. Nope. Gets in. Oh, drone shooting, but he's gonna see it's 520. They're still not done. TerrOr's gonna have a lot of freedom in this mid game.
Yeah, he's got all the info he needs, basically. He's just scouted his opponent, saw that the layer wasn't done. He's now getting his additional barracks there. And we'll be just waiting for the right moment to strike for the Terran.
Yeah, 3, 4, could be 5 barracks. Could just still be 4, but with that gap left, I mean, I think it's going to be 5 racks +1, and it's going to be impossible for g0rynich to hold that third. His tech is late, and he's going to go up against 5 barracks +1. Unless he severely out-micros TerrOr, I don't really see how he can establish the third base here.
Yeah, everything is super delayed here for the Zerg. The Spire, it's 6:30. This is the time where you normally have muters already out. If you're going for a 3-hatch muter, like 6:30 is when your muters usually pop out. And his Spire is only just about halfway done. And we have the first big move out from TerrOr already being lined up. +1 about to finish for the bio as well. This is scary. I mean, g0rynich doesn't have anything to deal with this. He's only just now planting his first creep colonies. The Spire has been scanned, so he knows that he hasn't even finished. Like,
yeah,
he's
normally against 5 racks, you don't even make sunkens. Your mutas are out with enough time to fight the first 12 Marines, but that's just how delayed the tech is for g0rynich. He might actually die here. Okay, now it looks like TerrOr pulls back.
Yeah. I mean, he's anticipating the muters to pop out, to pop any minute now.
And this is a 645 factory from TerrOr, so very fast tech following this up. You see he's not even making any more Marines to get this tech up. He's getting his turrets out now. And g0rynich, look at his economy, 26 drones. He did invest a lot to get 3 Sunkens down and no third in sight. So the mid game, TerrOr has a clear advantage here.
Yeah, this is a very smart way to approach this because TerrOr already knows that he has the right tools to deal with the mutas that are already out. And so he doesn't necessarily need to invest in a lot more Marines. Instead, he goes for a tech that g0rynich will then have to respond to. And if he, rushes his defilers, if he rushes his lurkers, he's then going to open himself up to being overrun just by pure
Medics
Marines.
got split off. Did you see that? Medics went to the other high ground while the Marines were a little bit exposed there, but no opportunity there for g0rynich to clear them off. And yeah, if, for example, g0rynich had a third, then TerrOr would need the Marines to be able to contest that. But because he saw no third for a very long time, he just decided, okay, if he's just going to stay on 2 base, I can just tech up. I don't really need more Marines here. Now that he's aware there's a third, he'll probably focus all his attention on killing that base.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to watch, TerrOr, because he doesn't play a very automated style. He really responds to what he sees. He didn't try and, for instance, rush any what they call missile turrets earlier on, where even though he knew that it was mutas, he knew the timing exactly with the scans. He didn't necessarily have to rush anything. And he's really responding. He's playing against a specific opponent, that is g0rynich in this particular series. He's not playing against the Zerg, he's playing against g0rynich on this particular map, and it's really a pleasure to watch. Now, g0rynich does manage to find a good angle here on those Marines, but that doesn't really last too long. It gets pushed back by the Terran player. We have a lone firebat making it to the third base in the bottom right. He sees that is relatively undefended at the moment.
Yeah, and you can see immediately heading towards that base. His Marine group isn't grouped up though. You want to have your Marines in a ball when they're up against mutas. Lurkers are on the way, but they're going to be very late. They're not going to be able to get to that third base in time. And we just see the economic impact of making those 3 Sunkens for g0rynich. He hasn't droned up in a very long time, and he's about at half the work count right now. Medic's getting caught off on the backside. This is actually pretty important. Now the Marines are actually going to be very easy pickings. How many medics are actually left over here? It's like just the 1.
Yeah, but he managed to kill the hatchery in the bottom right. Oh, this is going to be close. I think he needs to focus that down. If he loses, because he's going to lose those units anyway, so he needs to clear out this base to cut off g0rynich's access to a third gas. But he is turning around to fight, and he actually manages to save those Marines, which I didn't think he'd be able to do. Nonetheless, a good trade for the Terran.
Yeah, this is.
Even if he lost those Marines, I think it would have been a worthwhile trade, killing that third.
Again, 5 minerals at the natural being mined. g0rynich's economy has really been hurt by the 9th pool and then these 3 additional Sunkens. And here we have a Marine group that's probably going to die, but they did their job killing the third. And a bunch of mutas and additionally some lurkers. Looks like they're actually going to even get another lurker and a couple extra mutas now. So this is a commanding position from TerrOr now. His vessels are about to be out. Looks like the first one just pops. And just no hive quite yet from g0rynich. Upgrades are 1-1 on the bio. So these are very beefy Marines. Going to take 3 shots from the lurkers. And we see g0rynich just doesn't have anything. And he'll drop even going towards the third base. Going to kill that hatchery right away before it even finishes. And, I mean, TerrOr just dominant game from him.
Yeah, he's just one step ahead tech-wise.
Even gonna let that hatchery finish just to be even more annoying. But looks like g0rynich actually saw that somehow.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too greedy there from TerrOr.
I mean, you could kill these lurkers with, okay, links are gonna arrive. But, I mean, even killing 3 lurkers with this wild marine, okay, looks like only gonna be 2. But he knows the third is there, and look, he's just moving across the map. He knows he has the tech. He's gonna be able to put on a ton of pressure now with the vessels as well.
Yeah, g0rynich is spread too thin at the moment. He doesn't have those Nidals canals ready just to defend, every single base. So he needs to run around a little bit too much for my liking. And yeah, it is going to be really difficult to actually hold off this push because, as you said, the tech is there. He's got those irradiates, whereas his opponent doesn't necessarily have Defilers and Dark Swarm to buy sufficient time for himself. And again, he's only on 3 bases. He's just got his 3rd gas, which is at this point. Oh, sorry, he's got that bottom right. But again, he doesn't have a 4th gas just yet. He doesn't have those Defilers. At this point, as Zerg, you would probably want to have this natural that TerrOr is actually occupying with his army already completed.
Here you go, your radiant's going off, and just a little bit of time before all the lurkers go down. Even if there are 2 lurkers on this ramp, 2 lurkers won't be enough against +1 armor marines. And here we go, TerrOr's gonna commit. Oh, gotta wait for that 3rd lurker to die. Just a little bit of patience here required, and TerrOr did go for Saturn racks right away, no 3rd. He really wants to go for the kill here. He senses the advantage he has and wants to just end this game quickly before g0rynich can get established. Just putting on a ton of pressure here. The irradiate is key because otherwise Zerg would just turtle forever. Looks like, is he actually going to commit without medics? Oh, okay.
Yeah, g0rynich just doesn't have the gas to go up to Defilers, because for every irradiate that TerrOr casts, g0rynich needs to make another lurker to not die, right? And if he makes more lurkers, he doesn't have gas to go for Defilers.
And he doesn't have the gas to go for the Scourge to kill the... Yeah. So this will snowball very quickly, out of control. And you see his 3rd isn't even saturated because he has to get gas, prioritize gas. So he doesn't have the minerals to make drones to saturate that base. And he's just falling further and further behind.
Yeah, without Dark Swarm, he's not going to be able to take control of that natural in the top left. Now, he doesn't necessarily need to because he has the bottom right. But still, it's not a comfortable position to be in when you're pushed back like this as the Zerg.
That hidden base is actually pretty important, but I don't think this game's gonna go on long enough for that to matter. TerrOr is actually making battle cruisers, so he's gonna force g0rynich to make a ton of skirts to deal with that. And I mean, he's got that 3rd command center, he's getting upgrades on his bio, and he has g0rynich somewhat contained. He actually finally scans the bottom right, so he knows he has to do something. But basically Zerg, even though they have the gas now, they don't have the minerals with that 3rd not even saturated. And he's gonna try to go to drop a nice position with the Scourge. Good reaction. He has to be on top of this. You don't want to get in. You're secured on 2 fronts, but it looks like he's gonna have a vulnerable area here in his own main.
Yeah, he's just spread too thin. Without the Defiler, the first ones are popping out. But there's just too many angles that he needs to defend against. And meanwhile, the TerrOr is sitting comfortably on 3 bases. He's going into battle cruisers, as you said. He's got a very comfortable position in the top left, sitting, at the bottom of that ramp. And just slowly but surely, just suffocating g0rynich.
Yeah, just saw the bios at 2-2, and the links don't have any upgrades. So just another area where g0rynich hasn't been able to afford everything he needs.
Yeah, and like every time he drops, he's forcing out a Dark Swarm, which means there's 1 less Dark Swarm. There's less time for g0rynich to actually try and break out in any of these 2 positions. So he's just being as annoying as possible. The first battle cruisers, first cattle bruisers are popping out in the top left, now fighting against the Mutalisks. And as you said, there is not enough gas for Scourge to actually deal with those. And he's very smartly targeting the Nidus Canal to make it impossible for g0rynich to reinforce the top left. We can see that the lurkers have been thinned out by the irradiates from TerrOr. 1 last desperation Dark Swarm goes down at the top of the ramp to make it impossible for TerrOr to push up, but it's just a matter of time before the Peruvian breaks that position.
Yeah, and TerrOr, just relentless pressure here. I mean, 1 Dark Swarm is going to hold this off for a few more seconds, but you can see he's only on by a thread. Nice plague there. The battle cruisers are plagued, and the science vessels as well. And he smartly positioned these marines so that skirts that were incoming would be cut off and wouldn't be able to reach the battle cruisers.
Well, he's got full control of the map. He's got a massive force now moving across towards the bottom left, the bottom right. Good scan, good control from TerrOr as well. Clears out the lurkers, and the bottom right is all but dead. There is nothing there to defend. Not even a Nidus Canal finished. So this base is dead. There's like no saving it. His main is slowly but surely running out. Natural rat likewise, and the top left he still hasn't managed to secure the natural.
Yeah, and he's trying to get units out through that Nidus, but it's just too late. Hatchery goes down. Nice play again, but just too little, too late. And even though he still has a third gas, like the amount of map presence that TerrOr has, the amount of economy that he's going up against, TerrOr has a ton of production. He still has kept most of his vessels alive, and that's every few seconds, that's another radiate. Every minute, that's another radiate. And just doesn't have enough yet. And you can see g0rynich actually has a large gas count, but he can't really utilize it. He doesn't have the production.
Yeah, he's floating a lot of gas, but as you said, not enough hatcheries, not enough production capabilities there for our Zerg player. And the top left has been broken. There is no yeah, but there's no Nidus Canal, and the lurkers have been cleared. So as much as he's safe against the battle cruisers, the Marines should do quick work of the defenses in the top left. Even goes for a D matrix on that battle cruiser. And g0rynich is going to tap out of game number 2. TerrOr wins the series with a clean 2-0 to advance to the decider match, where he's going to face off against UltrA for that last spot from Group A.
Yeah, we're gonna have a rematch of the very first match, TerrOr against UltrA. I mean, you should be happier than anyone. We're gonna have another TBT in this group.
This matchup. But I'm really hoping for like long 1 hour, 1 hour 30.
1 hour 30. We're in the middle of the cast. I mean, fortunately, the games have been pretty short. We have seen a lot of cheeses being executed well. So we're almost halfway through this cast, and it hasn't been that long.
So if we don't get those 1 hour long TBTs, there's still a chance tomorrow in both Group C and D, because we have 2 Terrans in both. So I'm guessing we'll still get plenty of TBT action in this tournament. But yeah, we do have that rematch between TerrOr and UltrA, where, you know, in the opening match we did have a bit of an upset with UltrA taking the 2-0 over the Peruvian, the reigning BSL champion, which I feel like you were as surprised as I was. By that result. So we'll see if that gets replicated here again by UltrA, or if the curse of the second match is going to get to him, the curse of the rematch, or not. Just waiting.
Yeah, I expect TerrOr to play a little bit differently than he did in that first match. A little bit safer.
But he did play safe he did try to play safe on Neo Silphy, right? He just wasn't given the chance by his opponent. So I don't know. I'm hoping they get bigger maps this time. Like they get circuit breakers. Oh no, wait, they did go for Fighting Spirit. And this time they're opening on Blue Storm, as we've just been informed by the Puppet Master. So I think we're just about ready to jump into that game. TerrOr versus UltrA in the decider match of Group A of the Russian Cyber Games 2021.
Right, in the bottom left corner, we have the brown or red Terran UltrA.
And his opponent in the top right-hand corner of the very same map, as you would expect, he's the blue Terran, TerrOr. And the map is not Circuit Breakers, but Blue Storm. But we'll get that fixed in just a minute. So yeah, Blue Storm. I haven't seen this map in its tournament.
Oh man,
in a
okay.
long time.
8 racks from UltrA. 8 racks from UltrA.
Oh yeah. Well, there go my hopes for a long TBT.
Now, this is actually my favorite map in every matchup. I think this map layout is actually pretty dynamic for compared to other maps. It just leads to very, very different looking games without being necessarily just a completely unorthodox map like Sparkle or Outsider. Now, TerrOr, I expected him to play standard, but UltrA has been mixing in a lot of cheese in this series. And here we go with the 8 racks. 8 racks very common on this map. And what was the TBT we saw? I think it was Koget against Gypsy in BSL. And this is not, how do I say? This is a very difficult game plan to execute, I think.
For whom? The 8 racks player?
The defender from the 8 racks.
Okay.
Yeah, the defender. Because it's not necessarily gonna get the kill, but if you get a bunker at your natural and you're going up against an ARAX, they could just follow up with a standard, and then your expansion is gonna be so much later.
But he's gone for a gas of his own, so if he scouts the 8 racks, I think the right response is to... Oh, he actually sees it. No, wait, he doesn't.
Yeah, the way
Never
this
mind.
map works.
Yeah. There's a ramp. What was I trying to say? Oh, yeah, that if he scouts the 8 racks and he's going for the gas, he could actually just keep harvesting Vespine and then, get a super quick either factory with siege or a starport, which is, if you're going for the 8 racks, your factory is going to get delayed. Now, we do have the bunker, as you were saying. I was expecting it to be a little bit more defensive in that it will be put, closer to the natural, but we do have a very aggressive attempt here from UltrA with that bunker. Good pull from Terra. Unfortunately, loses his first Marine.
Yeah, and it's going to be 3 Marines, but against the SCVs SCVs are very strong. Can UltrA actually complete this bunker? It looks like he's not focusing it at all with his own SCV, and it goes down. And now
so that's a hold.
Yeah, this is a hold, and I think this is a massive mistake from UltrA. He really either should have prioritized making that bunker with his own, or he should have not made it so far forward, because you don't need to go for the kill with ARAX. You can just control the choke and force them to deal with your own bunker later. Looks like he's microing while he's targeting SCVs. You should focus on SCVs now that his rush has failed. But now with Terra having his own bunker, let's look at the situation where we are economically. Looks like Terra is 1 SCV ahead. Not a big deal. And UltrA...
Well, his factory is going to be like, 20 seconds ahead of his opponent? Maybe not 20, but... you get the idea that his factory is quicker. And now he's got a lot more options than his opponent on the table.
Yeah.
He's forced, the battery's got lifted, so he could
I actually
take control of the map.
I'm looking at Terra, and he sees that floating racks. He can continue making Marines here for a little bit, but it's very risky to do that. And it's very hard to actually push through that small choke, so maybe not the wisest strategy. That being said, the faster factory is an advantage, but I still think this game is about basically equal. And it just goes, personally, I think ARAX on this map is very hard to defend unless you scout it right away, because this does not go well for UltrA at all, and yet he ends up with basically an even position.
Yeah, you're making a valid point there.
Here we go, faster vulture from Terra, but by the time it gets to UltrA's base, you can actually see that UltrA will have his own vulture. Another thing that happened there was Terra's depot on the left side, the one he made to the left of his barracks, the SCV making it was actually killed, and then his second depot wasn't made for a very long time. So he's slightly supply blocked there. That's why you actually see he's down on workers now.
Yeah, I think he could have actually skimped out on going for that bunker of his own, Terra, that is, because he delayed his factory by doing so. And I don't think it was exactly necessary to go for that. Like, he could have kept 2 or 3 more SCVs off minerals to try and help against the Marines of his opponent. This way he could have had a slightly quicker factory, and maybe that would have created a position where, he had that vulture advantage, whereas that is not really the case this time. And as we can see, we do have a slight build divergence already happening, with Terra going for a command center in the natural, meanwhile his opponent instead opting to go for a starport and a machine shop follow-up.
Yeah, and UltrA is also expanding behind this. Its command center is only about a minute behind Terra's, so it's not that his economic position is much worse despite going for a starport right away. And I actually think this is going to be pretty annoying. The problem is he already has 4 Marines, and you can't fight 4 Marines with Wraiths unless you have 2 of them. And you have to out-micro them, because that's how bad Wraiths are against ground. So these Wraiths aren't going to get much done, and he can't accomplish much with the Wraiths until he has more than 2, basically. And by that time, Terra will have other methods of dealing with them. Looks like he's going to go for his own starport.
I mean, the Wraiths are there for vision, I think, more than anything, because you could get a good siege outside the natural in that little nuke where the tanks don't quite fit, whilst just keeping vision with the raids, not necessarily engaging the opposing Marines.
That
I
is
think
true.
that's what he's going to go for.
But he also has the barracks on top of that, and it's like there's mines from TerrOr. What is Ultra actually doing with this add-on? Because again, the siege at the NAT is actually one of the critical components of this matchup on this map. You can get your command center and mineral line sieged from the other side of that small choke.
I don't really understand why he's going for mines when he's on one factory. Honest. It feels a bit weird.
And there's the siege from Ultra.
Yeah, I mean
And
Terror.
let's-
What
Huh?
I was going for. I
Oh
meant
no,
Terror.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay.
But look, he is laying a lot of mines, and
Oh well. Maybe that's one way to deal, like preemptively deal with this siege that we were anticipating from Ultra. Yeah, that seems to be okay. Makes a lot more sense now.
he's actually going cloak. And I mean, I think this is actually pretty risky from TerrOr because he has very little vision of what Ultra has been doing. So anything could hit him right now, and he wouldn't be. Okay, kills off one Marine. Ultra hiding his Wraiths, which is I think is it's probably okay because again, what are you going to accomplish with one Wraiths when they already have Marines? He's not going for cloak right away and not have. Okay, looks like the tank fire actually killed that one. But looks like one of the tanks already took a mine shot, and you can see Ultra smartly sacrificing Marines. But the big key here is going to be the cloak wraith from TerrOr. Does Ultra have no? Ultra does not have detection, so just one wraith will be enough to deal with this attack. He can kill Ultra's wraith with his own, and then he'll be able to shoot away at the tanks on the low ground. And here we go. So wraiths are gonna have to be forced to run away here. You can probably kill the SCV and then slowly kill the tanks. But again, this has hurt TerrOr's economy because he had to pull away and he's not being able to make SCVs off this command center. And you can see Ultra has a 6 SCV advantage.
I think the biggest problem there was TerrOr's sloppy Wraith control, because he could have killed at least one Wraith of Ultra. Now he does manage to do that with the Marines, because Ultra then got sloppy with his control, but still.
With the attack move, you can't actually run away from a unit. Wraiths just attack and shoot at the same time, and they continue moving. But we do have the tanks finally getting cleared out, and Ultra's gonna add additional factories here. I don't think he's actually making more Wraiths, and he still doesn't have detection. Okay, he is actually making Wraiths, but he doesn't have detection. So this is gonna be a problem pretty soon. Looks like the academy just finished, and he's gonna get those scans now.
Yeah, it might be a little too late to actually keep making those Wraiths now that TerrOr has, what, 4? I think 4 Wraiths, yeah. And he's moving across the map, so the tables have been turned. And a terrible rally point from Ultra.
Oh man, and another Wraith might go down actually. Has to be very. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna have 2 lives maybe, and 2 scans, so probably enough to hold this off. But the position he's gonna be in is gonna be very awkward. How is he actually gonna break out from this if TerrOr just sieges right here?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like he actually has to close the game out here. He gets some really good position here outside the natural of his opponent. That makes it basically impossible for Ultra to move out. Now he is trying to sneak a ninja expansion in the top left-hand corner, as we've just been shown. And I think he's got slightly better production in that he has 4 factories already up. Meanwhile, TerrOr only getting his additional production facilities up. It's only his 3rd factory, actually.
It's not game over quite yet. It's only 4 tanks. Ultra does have the option to go for an SCV pull once he's ready to engage the tanks and the Wraiths with enough scans. But you can see TerrOr being annoying. He's baiting out scans here and there. And there's the unsiege. Is this the moment? Are we going to see the SCV pull? It's like another scan to get rid of Ultra's lone Wraith. The SCV pool not there. He's actually moving out with just units. Only 3 SCVs. Terror targeting nicely the tanks. Wraith still on top of everything. And this is a failed attempt to break out from Ultra, I think. Still have 2 tanks left over. The SCV is still alive. The Wraiths are still alive. And 1 Goliath left over. Looks like this is basically a trade. And Ultra managing to break out just barely.
It was very sloppy from both sides, if I'm honest. First, the pull wasn't necessarily that good from Ultra, and then Terra not quite targeting correctly, at least with the Wraiths. They were constantly switching targets between SCVs and tanks and various Goliaths. But in the end, yeah, we do have that siege up cleared. And now Ultra actually has a top left-hand corner and one base advantage in this series, which is pretty good. If it's a mirror and you've got 1 more base than your opponent, it's usually a sign of you being in the lead.
In games like this, TerrOr, I've seen him commit to 2 bases for a very long time, but he does have the 12 o'clock actually, but he can't actually transfer with Ultra sieging in this position. Ultra, this is probably just a little bit of fortune on his side because he's not aware at all of that base. He's just taking a forward position on the map, so he doesn't have to deal with Vulture counterattacks hitting top left.
Yeah, I think
nice dropship usage here, though.
I think Sarah was expecting Ultra to just sit back, not try and break that position, and maybe go for dropships towards the bottom right. That's why he took that 12 o'clock. Because, I don't know. It feels like a weird base to take.
I think with air dominance, you kind of take this space because it's fine, but I mean, bottom.
Normally you go bottom right, I think.
Bottom right, yeah. And then probably 6. This is probably.
Yeah.
Oh, nice SCV pull, and just with that, he's going to be able to hold this temporarily. Tanks can get on the other side of this ledge and siege the command center and gas, so it's very difficult to actually hold that base. So Terra's going to have to do something to take control of that position.
Nah, he's fine. He's got the Wraiths there. He's controlling his opponent's whereabouts with those. Yeah, he's fine. He's gonna be
this more than any other map, I think. I mean, TVT is a matchup where I guess the 2 most important things are positioning and tank count, and especially so on this map, I would say, because the positioning is everything on this map. You can see TerrOr has more tanks here, so he should be able to hold, and he also has a decent position, but he is going to have a tougher time reinforcing this than Ultra. He's going to have to rely on dropships, basically.
Yeah, this is a little bit unfortunate because he can't really afford to lose that 3rd gas. You do need it in TVT. Because as you said, tanks...
Oh, man.
That was a good shot. As you said, tanks are really important. And if you want tanks, you kind of need gas. And also
a little bit unfortunate for TerrOr to lose those rates, though.
Could we have a look at the upgrade progress for both players? Because I haven't been keeping track. No upgrades for either player. +1 just about to finish for Terra. Ultra about 35 seconds behind. Now we have an attempt to break this 12 o'clock with 2 dropships coming in from Ultra. Terra pulling his SCVs, but there might just not be enough blue Terran to hold off against this attack. And it does seem like Ultra is going to be breaking this position without too much hassle. 1 tank and a few Goliaths still remain for our red Terran. And this is going to force Terra's hand to actually try and do something. Looks like he will try to reclaim that 12 o'clock.
Yeah, but this is good for Ultra. His tanks are already sieged up. He's going to take a favorable engagement every time he's on the high ground, and Terra is not. And it looks like even though Terra is going to take control of that position again, he is being forced to defend this position with a lot more units than he would if it were bottom right. So it's a little bit awkward the way he's expanded.
Yeah, but it might make it a little easier to then expand later on by taking this slightly more risky expansion. But he's losing so many units to Ultra, who's now up on 72 workers to the 54 of Terra. He's going for the 6 o'clock. He's just running away with this game. Slowly but surely, he's getting further and further ahead in every single regard, except for those upgrades. I still think Terra is ahead in terms of the +2 timing.
Yeah, and that's going to be key.
Yeah.
It's going to mean he's going to 2-shot instead of 3-shot tanks. And, I mean, I don't think I think an underrated part of this is that Terror did lose those Wraiths. If he still had those Wraiths, those drops wouldn't have been executed as cleanly. Would have made defending this position a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely would have made it possible for him to actually hold off that aggression at the 12 o'clock. And once again, his gas is going to get seized by Ultra, and that is the most crucial part of this base. You need access to more gas and TVT. Well, you need that third gas, basically. But we do have a move out from Terra now, moving towards that 6 o'clock. I think he scouted it. Yes, indeed. We have 2 dropships filled with units. Question is, where is he going to go with those 3 tanks, 2 Goliaths now moving into the main base of Ultra? There's hardly anything there left to defend, just 2 vultures coming in. But, you know, it's a really good way to gain momentum, to take the initiative, because he's secured at 12 o'clock, except for the gas, which is actually the most important part, but never mind. All right.
Nice targeting there from Terry. He really needs to get the tanks. Looks like Ultra will clean this up, but Terry distracting him long enough so you can secure 12, maybe. That should be the next plan. No, looks like he's not here at all. He is going to kill 6, I think, and then bottom right is finally getting set up, so that's a 3rd gas there for Terror. I mean, I think Ultra's position is advantageous here for sure because of how difficult it is going to be to secure 12. But Terror does have some comeback potential here once that +2 kicks in.
I feel like Ultra was being a little bit too passive after that first 12 o'clock. Like when the 12 o'clock attack got cleared out, he got a little bit too passive, and that allowed Terror to turn the aggression around and kill the 6 o'clock. And now, you know, he's evened out the base count, I think. Well, except for that. No, wait, he's got his own mineral only. Never mind. But yeah, it's still a really good position for Ultra, at least macro-wise.
Yeah, okay, +2 is about to finish, so tank count is going to be very important here. I think Ultra has the tank advantage. Supply is not so important in this matchup as tank count is, but it's like Ultra's gonna go for a big push out through the middle, and Terror doesn't actually have anything standing in the way.
Yeah, he's got that +2, which is literally the most crucial upgrade in TVT, because as you said, it allows tanks to two-shot anything on the other side. But the problem is he was spread too thin. He only had like 2 tanks without any cover. Now we have 4 tanks that are unsieged. He's getting just absolutely dumpstered here by the attack of Ultra.
Oh, Ultra has to be very careful here.
Yeah.
He's getting caught unsieged against +2 siege tanks, so this is about as far as he can go. But this is important so you can find a way to reinforce this position and kind of cut off Terror from moving.
Yeah, this is a vital position because now it allows him to maybe attack the 6 o'clock, or maybe try and once again seize the natural with a few tanks. It could also lead to an attack towards the bottom right, because I don't think, you know, those tanks of Terror actually cover that pathway. No, that's too far. So, yeah, good position for Ultra nonetheless. Do we have Terror trying to break this? It seems like it, but... Oh no, he's just repositioning.
Yeah, he might try to break this, but I think repositioning is the better play here.
Oh. Yeah, he's attacking. He's attacking with his army.
Okay, but if they trade, I mean, I think this is fine for Terror because 12 o'clock gas wasn't even mining. And he does have bottom right now, and Ultra doesn't have 6.
But he loses 12 o'clock.
I mean,
altogether.
Again,
the gas wasn't mining, sure, yeah.
Okay, but it looks like Ultra position, he could take 12 himself now, and then it's going to be about 6 o'clock. Terror moving even more further across the map. Looks like Ultra does have +2 now.
I don't like this. This is going to be very costly here for Terror.
Yeah, now he's seated on the low ground in a non-critical part of the map.
Yeah, down to 50 SCVs against the 79 of Ultra, who also has +2 attack on his units, and he's got a much better position. That 12 o'clock has been exposed, so he could take it, which, you know, you would expect Ultra to actually expand there in the natural flow of TVT. That's the base you would probably go for. Maybe
Yeah,
getting a little bit
and-
overeager there.
Because Terror, well, now the map is split how you'd expect. It's much easier for Ultra to take 12 than it is for Terror to take 6 right here.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a drop that's gonna head towards Terror's main.
Oh yeah, he could totally do that. He could just go straight into the main base because we see that there's like what 2 turrets that are being shelled away out by the tank. Hardly any defense there, no units to speak of, and he could siege his opponent's production. That is basically the nail in the coffin in a TVT. If you siege your opponent's production, there's really no coming back from that. Now those tanks are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Ultra just being more cost efficient here. They are on equal bases, but the supply is telling a bigger story here where Ultra just has more units on the map and every engagement has been going in his favor.
And now the bottom right is exposed. Those units are not in position to secure the high ground. But he's trying, TerrOr is trying. But I think the next target for Ultra is going to be that bottom right. Don't really care about the mineral only, we care about the gas. At this point, he could probably do whatever he wants. He's up 60 supply, 81 SCVs to the 49 of his opponent.
He's gotta be careful though, because okay, let's say he is breaking through. You don't wanna just trade inefficiently when you're on equal bases, even with an advantage. But it looks like he just has too much, and he can actually take control of this high ground here.
Yeah, we have an SCV pull from TerrOr, but he's fallen below 100 supply for the first time in the series. Oh, this is looking grim. This is looking really grim for the Peruvian Terran, who could lose his 3rd TVT in a row to Ultra. At least this tournament.
Yeah, looks like Ultra is breaking through here now. Even if he doesn't kill him, he is cutting off defense from getting to that bottom right base, and with that done, TerrOr is only mining from his mineral only. No, not even his mineral only, just bottom right. It's only 1 base now for TerrOr, and he has no way to defend that. And Ultra finally putting the clamps down. Doesn't even need 12 or 6. He's already won this game, and TerrOr probably thinking about what he's gonna do on this next game.
Yeah, we're just waiting for TerrOr to accept his fate here. The death throes of our Terran player. Massive explosions going down. This TVT has been directed by Michael Bay. But yeah, again, we're just waiting for TerrOr to tap out because there's really no way to come back into this series. Into this map. 27 SCVs against the 79 of his opponent, and we have that crucial, the nail in the coffin, moving, Ultra moving his units towards the bottom right, which is the last maining base of TerrOr. The last remaining base that actually matters. And
there's a GG.
Things are looking grim for TerrOr.
That's 3 in a row.
Yeah. Looks like the curse of the rematch isn't kicking in just yet. But there's still a chance. That's why this is a best of 3. There's still a chance that TerrOr wins this. But if he doesn't, Ultra is 1 map away from qualifying to the top 8 and getting that ticket to Vladivostok in August.
This is going to be TerrOr's choice. What do you think his map choice is going to be?
I would probably go for circuit breakers. Because every single time Ultra was trying to be super aggressive in every single game. So you kind of want something where, obviously you want a big map. You want a big map where those aggressive openings don't really play as big a role. So something like circuit breakers, maybe Fighting Spirit, but then again, the first map they played was Fighting Spirit. Alright, we've been informed that the map is going to be Neo Sylphid. So I think this is the same map he chose in the first series after he lost.
Yeah, he played standard on that map, but it was Ultra who went for the proxy factory.
Yeah. So clearly feels quite comfortable on it, if given the chance to actually expand and drag the game out a little bit towards the later stages. But so far, Ultra is really showing up in full force in this tournament, winning that first game against Terra and now being up 1-0 in the rematch series. And we've been informed that the replay has been loaded, so we're going to be jumping into that game pronto. Again, we're just casting these from replays so as not to cause any lag issues. The games were played like 15 or 20 minutes ago or something like that, but just not making it uncomfortable for the players.
All right, in the 7 o'clock spawn, we have the Red Terran UltrA.
And his opponent as the Blue Terran in the 5-ish o'clock, 4-5-ish o'clock, currently trailing in the series 0-1. He is Terra. Is the reigning BSL champion going to get knocked out in the round of 16 of RCG? He's made it to the top 8. He's made it to the top 4. It would be quite a shock indeed.
I was looking at some head-to-head statistics heading into this match, and I saw Dandy, between Dandy, TerrOr, UltrA, and Kogit, basically the 4 best Terrans, how they fare off against each other. And I was actually surprised to see, or maybe not too surprised, Kogit actually has the best head-to-head Terran amongst all these players. And then it was Dandy, then it was TerrOr, and then quite distant 4th was actually UltrA, even though this is his best matchup. But TerrOr, the last time I saw him TBT was in the TQ Best of the Best tournament, where he beat Dandy and Kogit in that tournament 3-2. But UltrA really showing top form here and showing he's no slouch in this matchup at all.
You were checking the stats of the best Terrans in the foreign scene?
Yeah, you can do that on Wikipedia. They have this feature where you type a player and you go head-to-head against other players and see how they fare off against each other.
What about me? You didn't mention me. Like,
well.
What are you? Like, seriously? Like, I'm right here. Now just having a Turkish, pulling your pisser, mate. All right, we've got this game number 2. I completely forgot what you said about the statistics. For 10 months. So,
well, basically that Kogit is the strongest TVTer, and then it's Dandy and TerrOr. Okay. And then UltrA a little bit farther behind at 4th, but he's showing a higher level today at least from what we've seen before.
Definitely, coming in full force. Really, a surprising result from UltrA. I don't mean this as a slight or anything, and the egg got in the way again. Bear with us. Zero StarCraft has shut down again because apparently he dared select an egg in the replay. See, but this is what makes StarCraft, interesting. The game is 23 years old, and we're still finding new things. Like, right now, you can't select an SCV and an egg on Neo Sylphid, or your game will crash. But then remember, it's not a bug; it's a feature. Yeah.
All right. Again, so quick recap. UltrA already beat TerrOr 2-0 in the opening matches from this group. BoA beat g0rynich. Then in the winners match, BoA advanced against UltrA 2-0. Then TerrOr beat g0rynich in the losers, and we're in the deciding match between TerrOr and UltrA. And UltrA again is up 1-0 against TerrOr.
Yep, this is our final match of Group A. We're going to be following that up with Group B and then Group C and D coming up tomorrow. But we still have a few best of 3s to get through today. And as you said, UltrA is leading. You did it again, Zero. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh. Well. No, nothing to apologize for. Nothing. Don't be sad, please. Zero, stop crying, please. Nobody's mad with you. But how does that happen? You're patching a game, right? You're an intern at Blizzard, right? And Bobby comes over and says, look, we need to implement new maps, right? So what you need to do is you upload these and take these down. What has to happen for you for this bug to actually, like they were swapping out maps or something, or clearing out cache or whatever. I'm not an IT guy, but there's a few steps that you have to take in order for something like this to happen, right? It doesn't just like, oh, I clicked the wrong button and now you can't select eggs or the game will crash.
All right, so we have Ultra getting a bunker down and an expansion from TerrOr. Gonna go for factory starport, and Ultra's actually doing the same, but he's not expanding, so he's gonna have slightly faster tech than TerrOr.
Yeah,
and again, Ultra mixing it up. He's going for one base play quite frequently in this matchup.
Yeah, that's the same build he went for in game number 1, right? In the first series.
Who?
Ultra. Yeah, he went
you're
for that.
Correct.
Was this a gas first as well?
Yeah, this was on Fighting Spirit where he did it.
Yeah.
Bunker at the front. Again, this is a bit of the deception from Ultra here. And TerrOr is not going to be able to get a scout until that barracks gets in.
So far, it's exactly the same thing as in game number 1. Meanwhile, TerrOr is not going for that 2-fact opening he tried to go for.
Yeah, TerrOr going straight for Wraith instead of add-on. So this is going to be one thing that's going to mean his Wraith is actually going to be faster than Ultra's. But again, Wraiths versus Cloak. Actually, Wraiths without Cloak against Wraiths with them is a very big difference. So TerrOr is going to need some form of detection eventually because Ultra will have Cloak.
Yes, invisible units are better than units that are visible.
Yeah, think about DTs. If they didn't have invisibility, they would just be War Zealots. And here we go. Bunker, is he going to get up? Okay, just in time. Now the tank does outrange the bunker, but TerrOr will... Come on, TerrOr.
No.
Put those Marines in the bunker.
Is the replay broken? Or... No.
Okay.
Oh, he was busy planting mines.
Okay, so this means this tank is going to have a very tough time retreating. The Marines should pick off the Marines so they don't eat the mines, and then the tank is forced to.
Yeah, but he's being very sloppy with his units. Loses that one Marine, then loses a Vulture as well, and he didn't necessarily have to. And now we have that Vulture, that Wraith showing up in the natural, and it does have Cloak, as you said, I think. No, not yet.
Oh man, okay, so TerrOr not going to be able to kill us before it actually has Cloak is a very big deal. Because TerrOr had 2 Wraiths to the 1, but without Cloak, Ultra can just Cloak his Wraith and then chase TerrOr down. So TerrOr's going to have to wait for his Academy to finish. And Ultra finally scouting. This is important. 1 Wraith isn't going to do a ton of damage. You really want to scout. He sees the starport, and he should see that Cloak is actually about to finish for TerrOr, or at least being researched. And this is actually terrible for Ultra. Ultra hasn't been able to kill or find the Wraiths himself. So the fact that he's going to have, Cloak, is not going to be a very big deal for TerrOr because TerrOr's going to have Scan and Ultra won't be able to see TerrOr's Wraiths. So meanwhile, he's doing a ton of damage, but I think this is, as soon as Scan finishes, you're going to see TerrOr react with his own Wraiths, kill this Wraith, and then the tanks.
Has the Vulture been cleared out in Ultra's base? Yes, it has. Okay, so that didn't do nearly as much damage as I thought it might. But still 28 workers to 25. This is like... TerrOr just needs to be patient. He needs to wait for his contact stations. Then he needs to clear out the raids, and as soon as he does that, Bob's his ankle basically. He's going to be all safe and sound. So I think he also hasn't. Sorry, go ahead.
How many Wraiths does he actually have? Because I saw 2 very quickly, but then he stopped making. Okay, so just the 2. He's looking for the Wraiths. Okay, Ultra, no reaction quite yet. Cloaks. TerrOr can chase if he wants. Looks like no, he's just going to clear these tanks because they are sieging down his command center.
Yeah, but, he doesn't necessarily have to worry about them too much. He's still got the SCV lead. Now, he isn't quite gathering resources from the natural.
Oh, man, how
neither
annoying
is
from
Ultra.
TerrOr. How annoying from TerrOr. Barracks landed just to kill the SCV that was making the command center.
Yeah,
And he's actually gonna be able to delay it if he, oh, okay, not focusing. Very, very cute play from TerrOr. And another Wraith goes down from Ultra. And again, this is the difference the detection makes. Look at how hard it is for... Okay, looks like Ultra finally has his own method of detection, but only one Wraith down, and he finally gets his tanks cleared out. And we see the command center finally being able to land, and he's gonna lose another Wraith. No, it looks like TerrOr not on top of his units. Something that's been a common theme in this series is TerrOr not being able to kill Ultra's Wraiths by just chasing them.
Yeah, it feels like his micro is not on point today. Just a little sloppy here and there. But luckily, he does manage to fight back here on Neo Sylphid.
Well, and again, what's really shining here for TerrOr is the fact that his command center is up, and he was able to actually delay Ultras quite significantly.
He should probably go for another comsat in the natural, though. TerrOr, that is. Because there's still there's always the potential of Ultra just making more and more Wraiths behind this.
TerrOr is the one actually getting a second starport. I wonder if he's gonna go mass Wraith, mass tank, or if he's gonna continue mixing in vultures in the meantime while he builds up a Gans count. Because Ultra is gonna be in an awkward position, unit composition wise. If he goes Wraiths, he's gonna get overrun by TerrOr's Wraith, and if he goes Goliaths, tank Goliath is a worse composition than tank Wraith. And it looks like he is going to go tank Goliath.
I don't think TerrOr can afford to go for vultures because he's only got 3 factories worth of production. So he's probably just going to be pumping out tanks, at least out of two of those factories. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Probably gearing up to take his third relatively soon as well. You could take a look at the progress of upgrades if they're at all being researched. Okay, nothing just yet. An armory just being built for TerrOr as well.
Yeah, and this is smart from TerrOr to just keep making Wraiths. It forces Ultra to make a decision he doesn't want to make with all these Goliaths. And TerrOr is looking to contain. I think he's moving. No, okay, he's not moving across the map, just laying mines out, which is also pretty good because you want to limit the scans that your opponent has. Yeah,
but I'm not sure about being this passive with the rest of his army. Like, after clearing out that initial attack from Ultra, I think he could be a little bit more aggressive. He could afford to be a little bit more aggressive and take a slightly better position out on the map. Yeah, always managing to pick up units for free.
Yeah, gets 2 tanks, doesn't lose a single Wraith.
Oh, and this rally.
Okay, just takes 1 tank shot. Every tank you take out is very, very crucial in this matchup because it's all about the tank count. It's all about the tank count. And a TerrOr can go Wraiths with tanks while the opponent goes Wraiths, tanks with Goliaths. You just get a better position with your own tanks, and then your Wraiths give you vision, can pick off a tank here and there, manages to kill Ultra's last Wraith as well. So even though the economy is equal for the meantime, you can see that the Wraiths just provide another option for TerrOr. He does lose one there though.
Yeah, but again, he's not really taking advantage of the fact that he's got full map control with these raids. He's only just now moving out with his army, which is, you know, just as well. It might be a little, well, maybe not too late.
Okay, this is not what you want to do with Wraiths though.
Yeah, probably not.
TerrOr trying to get a good angle to engage, but he's a little bit exposed here. It's only 5 tanks and 3 Wraiths, and there's not much support, but he will be able to deny, at least for the meantime, Ultra's base.
Again, getting a little bit sloppy with his units, losing a lot of Wraiths, losing a lot of tanks as well. Now his army is going to get collapsed upon by Ultra with Goliaths coming in from the top as well. And he's getting cleared out, and the third didn't get denied.
He actually targeted the Goliaths there, and I question that decision a little bit because he did lose all his tanks. That was 5 tanks, a very heavy investment there. And you can see he does have 3 add-ons, but he's mixing in vultures here, and his third is not quite up yet, and ultras will be in a very short amount of time. Okay, actually did take this third instead of the 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but like he's got hardly any support for these tanks. The Wraiths are getting picked off by the Goliaths, of which still 3 remain. Ultra pushing in towards the 3rd, and TerrOr doesn't have any army standing on the map anymore. What is happening here? He had such a good position with the Wraiths, with the tanks, and he just threw away his lead by not taking advantage of his map control and then getting sloppy with his engagements. Really baffling here.
Yeah, and Ultra doesn't have a 3rd yet, but it doesn't matter. Look at how he's able to siege this command center from the low, well, it's not even a low ground. He's gonna probably reroute. What is he doing? He's retreating? Oh, he's rerouting to attack from a different angle here. And his standing army looks just a lot bigger than TerrOr's.
Oh, absolutely. And like TerrOr's macro is slipping as well. We could see that he had 3 tanks queued up in one factory, which is, you know, not really characteristic of someone like TerrOr.
Yeah, now he sieges too far forward, loses a tank right away. Not the cleanest control from TerrOr at all. And well, I think he might be able to hold here because the tanks aren't in range. I mean, it's just going south for TerrOr. Surprisingly, after what looked like to be a very commanding mid game, all of a sudden he's behind.
Yeah. You know, I don't want to call it too early, but this might be a 4-0 for Ultra against TerrOr in today's bouts.
Most surprising to me was the lack of Wraith control. He just lost 7 Wraiths. Basically, after killing those 2 tanks with his Wraiths, we just saw no control from TerrOr.
Well, he manages to secure his 3rd, but again, he had such a good grasp on the entire map. Like, he gained an incredible amount of map control with the initial Wraiths, and then instead of trying to capitalize on it, he now gets pushed back into his little corner in the bottom right. We can see that the 6 o'clock is likewise likely to be sieged by Ultra in just a minute if he finds out about it being there. But yeah, it's like TerrOr is suffocating slowly but surely in his bottom right hand corner. Even though, you know, Ultra only has 3 bases, he's got so many more options than his opponent.
Yeah, Ultra just had the better unit control all series long, it seems like. And he found an opening here on the left side of this 6 o'clock base. And I mean, I don't want to say this is over because Ultra still doesn't have a ton of production. He only has what looked like to be 4 factories, of which only 2 had add-ons. I think he will have more shortly, but TerrOr is losing grasp of some things. Looks like it was actually a barracks that was being made, because that's why it only has 4 factories. We're gonna see a big explosion on factories soon. I think this is TerrOr's moment to kind of break out of this position he's found himself in before Ultra can get his production up and his 4 factories or additional factories being added.
Okay, this is pretty good. He secures his 6 o'clock, and now I think he needs to go for a counter at the 3rd with like 2 dropships or something. Now, unfortunately, he does lose one of those dropships to the Goliaths because, again, he didn't retreat them when he probably could have. And he needs to gain some momentum. He needs to do something to fight back, because at the moment, he's just allowing Ultra to not only take over the initiative, but keep it on his side. Now he's taking his 4th. That's an extra gas for our Red Terran player. He's, as you said, adding more and more factories to the fray.
Yeah, only 2 add-ons still for Ultra, but I mean, +1 for both players, +2 will be done pretty soon for Ultra, I think. And TerrOr is still only on 3 gas, even though the bases are equal. He is down on gas, and it looks like 2 dropships. These are probably gonna hit the top left base where there's not much defense. And I think once he forces Ultra to react to this, he can then attack towards the middle of the map. There's only 1 tank, 1 vulture there, no mines, no other defense. So this could be a pretty good drop for TerrOr. Looks like instantly, actually this isn't even a reaction, this is a preemptive move from Ultra to get some extra units there once he saw those dropships.
Oh, he's going to find those dropships with a race as well, I think. Oh, he might just wait for those units to load back up. Oh, this is going to hurt. And just like that, TerrOr loses his ability to counter-attack. And again, he's pushed back into his bottom right-hand corner without really the ability to push out, because we can see that Ultra has a massive position out in the middle of the map. He could probably reinforce it with a few more tanks to make them you know, to make those tank lines a little bit more sturdy, a little bit harder to break for the blue Terran.
Yeah, TerrOr has to make a move here. He could probably actually take 3 o'clock and play this all out. And looks like he's just going to go for the bust. The bust is actually going to be quite good. It's going to come down to Ultra reacting right away to defend his 4th. I think Ultra has more than enough units to do so, but he has to be quick.
Yeah, this is a very common mistake in TvT in that after you secure a location out on the map, you sometimes forget to send more tanks to reinforce that line. But we can see that Ultra, I mean, even though he didn't reinforce that line, he had enough units somewhere around the map to try and counter this push out from TerrOr. And he didn't really gain anything, TerrOr, with this. Sure, he maybe opened up the base to the left of the 6 o'clock, which is like 6:30, 7 o'clock. But I don't think that's enough. Now he's taking that 3 o'clock you were talking about. Yeah, maybe this is the right way to go about this.
I think he has to play the long game. He can't really kill right now, so he has to play a long-term. But it looks like Ultra's gonna go. Oh, looks like a slight mistake there. And now, okay, someone has +2. It looks like Ultra has +2. TerrOr still has +1. So TerrOr really has to wait for his own +2. Where is his army text at the natural? Just about to finish. And I think from what looked like basically a win for Ultra, TerrOr has managed to claw his way back. He's still at a deficit. He really needs to defend right now, but +2 just finished for him, so he's taking a slightly better engagement here, but just looks like Ultra has too much.
Yeah, a massive engagement for Ultra. I really like his unit control as well. Those tanks weren't clumped at all during that engagement. And obviously the Vultures tanking the initial shots from TerrOr. Now once again, Ultra getting a massive position outside the natural, outside the 3rd of our blue Terran, and he might just push in. He might just go for the jugular in the natural. There's just 2 tanks remaining, a few Vultures still tanking damage, but this isn't looking good for TerrOr. He's down to 108 supply against 140 for Ultra, who's still very happily sitting on 4 bases, has access to a lot more minerals than his opponent, potentially if he were to expand. Now we have also a move out from a few Vultures heading towards that 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I think that was a bit ambitious for Ultra to go for the kill there. I really think he should have just stopped, contained, and then he would have been able to hit 6 easily. But looks like he's using this opportunity to reroute his units on an opening to hit 3 o'clock, and I think that will actually be enough if he can kill or deny the space.
Yeah, it might not have been the most efficient attack from Ultra, but he traded units for an opening at the 3 o'clock basically. When TerrOr was busy defending that, you know, location outside the natural, he instead attacked at the 3 o'clock, which is what, the 5th. So still really good play from Ultra, who's now up 40 supply in this game. 69 SCVs to the 62 of TerrOr, 155 supply to 110. I'm a little bit surprised that he's not expanding a little bit more though.
Yeah, that's about the only thing holding him back here, but he's going to be able to kill a gas base from TerrOr, and he just has a lot more units out on the map, so it doesn't even matter if he doesn't take more bases.
Well, Ultra's 4th is exposed, and it seems like TerrOr is going to pounce on the opportunity to actually apply a little bit more pressure at this location, but Ultra is ready. It's got a couple more units coming in. The SCVs do get pulled, and this isn't going to work. TerrOr falls below 100 supply. Meanwhile, TerrOr still up at about 150, 160.
Don't underestimate the power of SCVs.
Yes, the natural predator of the tank.
So he's gonna get 1 tank in siege range of the mineral line. No, it looks like TerrOr really needs to consolidate here because the few bases he has left are all falling down.
If he loses this is game over. He's going to be down to 2 gases. Now he's trying to take this base to the left of the 6 o'clock, the mineral only. But again, this base is getting sieged. That's a lot of tanks, that's a lot of Vultures. And Ultra is just punching through the defense here. 160 supply to 85. And I think this base is down. There's no saving it. Do we have any dropships? Could he maybe utilize those? I can't see any.
It's like the Brave switch coming in now, and this is perfect. TerrOr doesn't have any anti-air. He's focusing so much on just defending via ground. Ultra attacking with the Raves. This is the finishing blow here.
Yeah, this is going to be game over. There is hardly any anti-air left. We have the Wraith switch, and TerrOr is down to like 2-3 mining bases. Even less than that, probably. Oh, this is rough. The reigning BSL 12 champion, who has made it to the top 8, has made it to the top 4 of the RCG before, is going to get knocked out in the round of 16 by UltrA, who just beat him with a clean 4-0 in this group.
Yeah, very impressive from UltrA. And that means we have advancing out of this group, which initially had TerrOr, g0rynich, BoA, and UltrA, BoA, and UltrA.
Yep. I'm really good at predictions. I said TerrOr and g0rynich, and as you can see, they both got knocked out. But hey, you got half it right? Because you said TerrOr and BoA.
But surprised that TerrOr didn't advance at all.
Definitely. I mean, you just expect, like when you get to this point where you like a BSL champion, you just consistently make it to the top 4, sometimes the finals of tournaments. You get this pressure on you, you know, like certain things are expected of you, and getting knocked out in the top 16 of a tournament like this, while for somebody else might not be too shabby a result, for someone like TerrOr, you know, it just leaves a lot to be desired. But yeah, we've just been told by the Puppet Master that we will be going to a very short commercial break before jumping into Group B. Now, again, we do have 5 more best of 3s lined up for you today, and then 10 more tomorrow with Group C and Group D. So hopefully you did enjoy Group A as much as we did, and we'll be going for a quick break, coming back with Group B and Dawid, Babo, Shiki, and Casper.